Going with. It's not a bad system. It's just I think.
What's up, everybody? We are live, and PK is still talking. And I got an echo. Ooh, I got a big echo. Let me turn that off. Hey, okay, I think we're ready to go now. All right, the echo is gone. Sorry about that. I was cutting something off, and I accidentally cut off OBS. So when y'all saw that craziness, that was on me. That was my fault. So being gone for a couple of weeks. Oh man, yeah, well, it's still the same, bro. You're gonna have to figure that out. But we live now, and it's too late. Anyway, we got.
It's good. You only see one, right? You only see one of me.
Yeah. We only see the other one, the other part of you. Yeah. So
the other one just dropped off. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, everybody, welcome to the GRG podcast. We are live. It is a couple of days before the next generation, the true generation, the Xbox Series X drops here Tuesday or midnight for those lucky ones who got the pre-order. People like me, for instance, I'm going to have to hit the streets and hit them hard to see if I can catch one in the wild. Good luck to that. But for that, it's still the beginning of the next generation. When a week after that, it's going to be PlayStation. So we are finally here. The election is now almost about to, well, technically it's not going to be done, but theoretically it is done. Thank goodness. All right, so now here we go, man. Everybody, man, it is great. We got some newcomers. We got some returning people, guests that's come up onto GRG. So first off, let's go to the newcomer, the person that's first time ever coming to the GRG podcast, man. My main man, Legal. What's happening? The new Legal, I should say. What's happening with you, brother? What's going on?
Hey, nothing, man. Just got off from work, but I stay powered up, man. I keep my extra one up on me, man. My extra man on me. Shout outs to K Mega for reaching back to me, man, today. The streets demanded this, man, and we doing this for y'all, man. Shout outs to K Mega. Shout outs to everybody over here on GRG doing their thing, man. How y'all doing tonight?
No doubt. Everybody is everybody's excited, man, and I know my crew is excited. I know the crew is very excited because they haven't done anything. Well, I should take that back. PK is done a little bit of work out there, man, and I seen Slayer out there doing a little bit of work. And Fuzzy's always doing work, but you know what I'm saying. But you know what I'm saying, Op, you know what I'm saying. This is going to be the second time that we see you again, man. What's going on with you?
Bruh, outside of work and school, bro, not much. Just chilling over here, just grinding away on Gears 5 for the most part. Unfortunately, next gen's gonna start pretty late for me because I had to cancel my pre-order, do the car maintenance, got to take care of that first. So, everybody else is joining there. Next gen, I'll be salty as fuck. Just watching everybody.
Oh man, that sucks. But man, life comes first.
Just gotta bear with it.
You should have passed that pre-order to your homies.
I
What
know.
was you thinking?
What was you thinking?
Man, you messed up with that one, bro.
Listen, I did this shit like at midnight. I wasn't even thinking. I was like, man, let me just buy the before I get charged.
Wow. All right,
yeah,
man.
still though, man. I feel for you, bro.
Well, let's go to our second guest, man.
Cried myself to sleep that night. Damn,
man, I'm crying right now because I'm like, damn, it was that close. Maybe y'all could have said, Mega, hey, I got this pre-order. I'm on it. Let's get it. The money gonna go to where's your Cash App out? Where's your PayPal? I got you. Anyway. But man, this dude has been here on GRG before, man, but he's always great when he's on the show and for what he do. Man, my boy, Fuzzy Belvedere. What's happening with you, brother?
Hey, what's up, K-Mega? What's up, everyone? Glad to be here. Man, it pretty much feels like Christmas Eve. What, was it 4 days now before this Xbox drops? And yeah, hope everybody that wants one can get one. PlayStation isn't making it easy for us with this online order only thing if you didn't get a pre-order. So, I'll worry about that later. But I got my main. It's on the way. It's just stuck in Kentucky for probably another day or two, and then get here Tuesday. But glad to be here, man. Awesome talking game stuff. So let's get it.
Let's get it. And by the way, I need to go and before I get everybody else on the crew. And Lemetheus and Bloody Knuckles said that they were going to be a little bit late, so they will be here. Of course, Livewire, the Bruh Man, aka the King of Dolphins. We don't know. There might be a moment where he might just say, you know what? Hey man, I just feel like I kind of sound like 100 now. Let me reverse that. I got to talk a little bit slower and a little bit deeper. No, I can't do it. I can't.
And then I go way left at the end.
Yeah, and then I got to say something really wild at the end. But, you know what I'm saying, regardless, Livewire might still come, of course, you know what I'm saying. He got AKA our Donald Trump, or I might need to start calling him, hey, you know what I'm saying, AKA the Biden. Because right now, look like that's who's going to be in the White House. But regardless, man, let's go ahead and Dorian, I said your real name, my bad, bro.
You good, man. You good. You comfortable, man.
I know. We Facebook.
This is real, bro.
We Facebook boys. So, you know what I'm saying? So, my bad. But anyway, New Legal. Tell everybody.
You in the DX mansion, man. It's all good, bro.
No doubt. Tell everybody the podcast that you on and about your Facebook group. You know what I'm saying? So that
okay.
Yeah, let everybody know about
no problems, man. It's the New Legal, man. Just like it sounds. Lowercase THE, space, all caps, NEW, space, all caps, LEGAL, man. My Facebook group is the DX Mansion. You can check us out over there, man. We wild over there. Hardcore Xbox fans, man. So if you true to the green, man, you're going to be right at home. Come on in, grab you a key, and pick out of any of the infinite rooms, man. The rooms in there is of infinite abundance. You can't get lost. Just keep walking down the hallway, man. It's just straight, narrow path, bro. Pick a door. Go in there, man. We got 4K TVs for you, man. Xbox Series S's and X's. We all next gen now, man. But you can also catch me, man, on YouTube. Direct Gaming, DI-RREC, GAMING. Shout outs to my man Technoblast, General, and Rogue, Enigma 17. My cast out over there, man. You can check us out. We're sporadic, so we don't usually have a day or time. We just go in. And so far, man, I get about 30 views, 20 views. You know what I'm saying? I'm big time. Again, the show gets big ratings and stuff. Man, we Xbox fans over here, so it's hard, man. It's hard out here. But I have a lot of fun, man, and I'm glad to be up here on GRG, man, representing. So shout out to the Xbox community, man. Y'all know what time it is. I'm ready to talk some Xbox stuff, man. Let's go.
Let's do it. And Fuzzy, the stuff that you do, man, the podcast that you're on, and and all the stuff that they can find you at on Twitter, all that, man. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Well, every Saturday, I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's like 6 p.m. Arizona time. The Shop Podcast with PTK, SAG, and Centurion. We just chop up about anything Xbox related, anything that's news related. Occasionally talk about Anthem and the 2.0 thing that's coming out here soon.
Yes.
And other than that, you can find me on Twitter, Fuzzy_Belvedere, on YouTube, but I mainly use that for just my replay channel as far as for car racing games, mainly Forza, some NASCAR here and there and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most part, Twitter is the main place. If you want to talk about games, that's where you'll probably find me most. But the Shop Podcast every Saturday around 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Arizona time.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, and shout out to PTK Blam. You know what I'm saying? That's my boy right there, man. Happy for his success, man, and everything that he's doing over there. And yeah, you know what I'm saying? So big shout out to him. All right, man. So the rest of the panel, PK, I was apologize for interrupting you, but I was trying to say that we was going live, but you was in the zone, and so I don't know who you was talking to. I had no idea who you was talking to, but anyway, all I know is that you want to try to beat my head and smash again. I think I've thoroughly improved after the time that after hours I have spent. And then after playing against, against Yobi and Tarzan, so yeah, I think that my skills are up to snuff. And I was told from a person that knows how to play some Smash Brothers themselves that my Terry Bellegarde is ridiculous. It's pretty damn solid. So what's up, man? What's going on with you, PK?
What's good? First of all, Terry's my main. You're a beginner. You need to start with Ryu and Ken. Then go back to Smash. Yeah, you need to start with Ryu Ken. Sorry, it's too advanced. But anyways,
what?
I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to be here. I did have fun playing the game with you. Be happy to take you into the hyperbolic time chamber and train you up a little bit and some Smash if you want. And for sure, man, there's a lot of stuff that's happened the past couple weeks. Stuff we all should be excited for. So definitely excited for Tuesday. Whether I get a Series X or not, I'm just happy that it's finally here. No more waiting. No more leaks and rumors. We finally get the daggone thing, and proof is in the pudding, right?
Yep.
So let's get it.
Let's get it. All right. And then last but not least, man, our main man. Man, I call him Slick, but everybody calls him Six Slayer. What's going on with you, brother?
Oh man,
I've been
excited, man.
seeing you and PK out there, man, hopping on other podcasts and stuff, man. That's really good to see. It's really good to see.
You know what we do, man. We try to, we got some personalities out here, some knowledge. We try to share that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
We try to share opinions, let people know what's going on. But welcome to our guest, Fuzzy, man. He always puts a smile on my face when these tweets he puts up, man. Always, always, always. And our other guest here, Legal, man. Wasn't it last night yourself, Rogue, Techno Parrot?
Yeah.
Great
Techno
time.
Blast? Yeah.
Yes, great time. Oh yeah, Techno Blast. I'm sorry. There's this emulator called Techno Parrot with all those light gun games. In fact, I just bought that Sinden light gun, so I'm real hyped for that. So expect a video on that real soon in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, man, so excited. Doesn't matter what platform you cap for, man. Everybody has some things to be happy for in this next week. Nintendo even had, there's some heavy rumors about a Switch Pro, sometime in the spring. So, everybody's got stuff to be happy for. There's new PC hardware, new consoles, games. Yo, it's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be a gamer. We got topics to talk about tonight. We're gonna get into it.
We got tons of stuff to talk about. Most likely we won't probably get everything, but we will try to get as much as possible. We don't want to go all night long, so let's so we got to keep that in mind. Well, I got to keep that in mind because I know me, and that's why I'm not touching on the good stuff until probably the first hour. You see what I'm saying? I think that new method of what I'm doing now, it works, because if I go ahead and I start now, the next thing you know, I'm talking about black love, and then I have no other idea what I'm going to be saying. So anyway, so let's get to it. So Phil Spencer, this is some stuff that was talked about, I believe, last week. And I apologize for that. The power went out. We had a crazy ice storm. It was ridiculous. What I'm saying? Phil Spencer states that the health of his teams takes priority in reference to launch exclusives. So basically, I'm going to go to you on this one, Op, because this was one of those things that I'm sure that you wanted to talk about. So what do you think about Phil saying that? I mean, look, we look at the launch titles, right? And we can see the comparison between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. One person would say that the other one looks better than the other. One would, when you have some people that would come out and say, well, Spider-Man is a bigger draw than maybe Gears Tactics or, Gears 5 or something like that. And then you might have somebody on the other end that would say, look, I'm more of a multiplayer fan. I'm more into backwards compatibility. I think what we've got so far is solid on the Xbox side. But regardless of however you lean, it is compared to what the Xbox One delivered at the beginning of the gen in 2013 is significantly less. But how do you feel about this whole situation, what Phil Spencer said?
Well, I mean, he's absolutely right. Like, let's imagine, like, if he didn't send his teams back home, they were still working in the studios at this point. Mm-hmm. If there were cases that broke out and word got out at that point, they'll be buried by news at this point, with like terrible PR at this point. So I wouldn't say it's lesser of two evils at this point. It was the right decision to make. Send everybody home so they could be safe at this point. That way, it just, of course, the lesser issue avoiding PR catastrophe, your teams are safe. This is the long-term investment going forward. You keep them safe, keep them healthy, and keep producing for you going forward at this point. So I think his words were correct on this. He did make the right decision, and people just, it is what it is at this point. A pandemic hit, we got to readjust and refocus and reshift their priorities at this point. And this is the best thing to do going forward. So rather than be safe and healthy at home, work on the games, take a little bit longer than be at risk working in the studios together at this point. That's just how I feel. But as far as the launch lineup, it's funny how this conversation switched from comparing the Xboxes and PlayStation lineup to from Xbox lineup to the previous lineup at this point. So it feels like people just nullified the PlayStation's competitor and Xbox not competing with itself at this point. I don't know if people realize that they kind of ate their own words when they brought that dynamic at this point, because they're barely comparing to the PS5 launch lineup. They're not comparing to 2013 at this point, which was better at this point. But me, if you compare Xbox right now to PS5, I would say Xbox is better, because if we're really being honest, the main points people are saying PS5 launch lineup is better is for old games that we already played and DLC. We have Demon Souls remaster. People already played that. Spider-Man remaster. Already played with DLC at this point. Nobody's hyping up Sackboy. Nobody's hyping up Destruction All-Stars or the other games coming out. Godfall is just confirmed as a time exclusive. So
snacks.
That's dead right there. Like you don't near to kill that at that point. So I mean, if we're being honest, if we're capping for games we already played, Xbox is better, because one, Gears 5 is getting a patch that's free. That's a free remaster right there, plus DLC, which probably be free through Game Pass. We're gonna see how that plays out. Gears Tactics, it already came out, but since old games are cool now, I mean, Gears Tactics, Demon Souls, at that point, pick your poison for me. But I'd rather go with Gears Tactics at this point, because I've never been a fan of Souls games. So the Xbox launch line is looking relatively solid right now. Could it be better? Of course. Halo Infinite not being there, it's a big blow to them at this point. It really definitely did suck that it's not there. But this doom and gloom about the lineup right now, I'm not seeing it right now. It's looking fairly solid. But of course, it could be better. But that's just how I feel.
Okay. All right. So let's go to our guest. New Legal, what do you think about that? I mean, do you agree with Op on that? I mean, or do you have a different opinion?
Nah, man, I agree with him. You're looking at, we just got news on the Medium being delayed, which makes sense to me, because I can't see the Medium getting that much attention with Cyberpunk 2077 around the corner, right down the block from it. Plus Assassin's Creed Valhalla coming out on the 10th. And then you got Watch Dogs Legion. It's just too many open world games that are just great right now. The Medium being a brand new IP, people are gonna be skeptical. They don't really know the feel of it, the mechanics of it. They don't know. So I feel like anytime you have a brand new IP, you want to isolate it, give it a month or 2 month separation from any game that is familiar with gamers, So when they finally choose to play the game, they got time to get to know it, to bond with it, and then assess their own opinion on based on their experience of the game. So I'm kind of excited because I see a multiple mixture of diversity between great third-party games and then great exclusive title games coming out for it. I'm a Gears head, so he's right on that. As far as Gears of War 5 go, we're going to hit Ultra 4K PC levels, man. Beyond that, that's what's insane. The 120 frames per second, I'm dying to get. I'm very picky when it comes to my tech. So I don't know if I'm getting a monitor for the first time or I'm gonna try to find a TV. The TVs are not really where I wanted them to be, so I'm leaning towards a monitor right now, at least a 32-inch widescreen. I don't really feel 27 inches nowhere. That's been since the 1980s, man. I'm not feeling that at all. So I got to at least get a 32-inch widescreen if I'm gonna go with a monitor. But I can't wait for the DLC of the Hive Busters. If Hive Busters is new to you and you don't really understand Escape, they previously had the comic book series out earlier before Gears 5 came out to kind of introduce you and try and get you to feel of what their missions were, what their lifestyles were. So for them to elaborate on those characters right now and get you into more of their story, I think that's cool. That brings a little bit more interest and value into Gears 5. Plus, what is it? We still got Scorn. We don't really know. Look, we got news coming out. What, on the 9th? There's a rumor on the 9th, but I do know for a fact big news is coming. We don't know what's going on. From what I'm hearing, Microsoft is just playing the media, man. They're going to have fun this gen. Nobody really knows, man, and that's how Microsoft is going to keep it interesting. But just when you think you know, they're going to come with something different, man. So I'm calling it right now. Expect some great news from Halo Infinite. Expect some Hellblade 2. Expect some games from out of the studios, out of the at least 6 studios that we haven't heard from yet. We got to get some news on that. And I'm just excited, man, period. I think he touched on it, man. I don't see it, but I understand, man. People always got to downplay Xbox. It is what it is, man. So once again, it's up to us to decide the fate of our games in our community, man. I think now Xbox been doing pretty good the last 2 years of doing that, man. Just keep it rolling, y'all. Don't look at these articles and look at this stuff as pure comedy, man. Don't even take that stuff serious. Go out here, be gamers, man. Showcase your experience. Come out here, assess with your opinions, man, and leave it at that. Let's have a good time, y'all, because we are the only ones that are really walking into next generation correctly.
No doubt. All right. What about you, Fuzzy? What is your stance on this?
As far as the lineup, the fact that there isn't the big hitter of Halo, it sucks. Mm-hmm. Could it be better? Sure. But I'm looking at it from just a console standpoint. If you're a console gamer and not a PC and console gamer, Gears Tactics is a new game. Just plain and simple. Right. I haven't played it yet. Do I have a PC? Sure. But I'd rather use my PC for modding games. So it's going to be a new game on my Xbox Series X. But for me, just like when I bought my Xbox One X, that was my multi-plat go-to box. Like I started this, I guess you could say this current gen as a PS4 guy. All my single-player multi-plats, because it was more powerful at the time than my Xbox One, that was my multi-plat thing. And then my Xbox One became my multiplayer game system because games like Division and Destiny were the go-to because of the community. The people that you could, not knocking PlayStation, but it was just funny to me. I played with coworkers as far as Destiny on the PS4. No microphone. Well, they would use microphones, but everybody else, like when you do the random match type deal, nobody had mics. They're just running through enemies. Me being new to Destiny, I'm like fighting and trying to kill everything. People are just running. Nobody's talking. The minute I get on Xbox, as far as like with Division and Destiny, there's always people talking. You meet people that you wind up being friends with and always, go through missions or different games and wind up, teaming up pretty much on a regular basis from that point forward. So I look at it as my multi-plat go-to box right now. I ordered the box to play Assassin's Creed. I already ordered Watch Dogs, so I'm going to be playing that with its ray tracing and enjoy the goodness of what this new box is going to be able to put out. The same thing with Assassin's Creed. I'm also going to be able to try out Gears Tactics for the first time. I'm probably not going to hit Falconeer right off the bat, but it's something that's going to be in Game Pass, and being a Game Pass subscriber, which I think that's probably the biggest advantage that I see right now with Xbox. Sure, does it have day one launches that people are clamoring for at this minute? Maybe not. But a lot of the stuff that you get in there for your monthly fee is well worth the price of entry. So for people that are all up in arms about not having that, go-to or must-have box or game that is worth, I guess, the entry price to get into the next generation. I mean, getting the new kit, whether you're a PlayStation guy or Xbox guy, is not a have to have. But if you're looking for improvements in existing games or games moving forward, any of these cross-generational games, it makes sense to spend the extra money to get the improvements. And for me, I see it as worthwhile. I see it as worthwhile with having my Game Pass subscription. I see it as worthwhile with all the multi-plats out there. I see it as worthwhile, even though, there's only a handful of exclusives at this point in time. But what is, I guess you could say, in the pipeline, considering Xbox has 23 studios, 35 teams. We get, little glimmers and hints of what's coming. I think that's part of the big excitement, as far as it may not be here today, but there's definitely going to be plenty of stuff here tomorrow and the next day and the next day after that. So I know people are fussing about, oh, well, if you compare it to 2013, 2013 is the past. And even when Xbox had a lot of first party and even second party exclusives at launch, people still clowned it for whatever stupid reason. I mean, like I said, I started on PlayStation. Rise Son of Rome looked awesome to me from the beginning. And the thing that made me really, well, two things made me really look at Xbox. The first thing being Sunset Overdrive. I had to have that game. Can't get it on PlayStation. Guess what? I guess I got to buy the box. And then the second thing was Drive Club. Now, Drive Club, good game. Looks great in some aspects. But the biggest drawback was they delayed it a year. And that was one of the games that was supposed to be a launch title. They delayed the game a year, and you figure, hey, it's their first time at being a multiplayer, always online type of game. It launches a year later because of whatever delay problems they had, and it still didn't work online for 2 months. And they touted it as being a Forza killer. So if you're going to tell me you're killing Forza with this game and it can't even work after a year delay, what is over at Forza that I need to check out? Because obviously you don't have your shit together. So ever since checking out Forza on Xbox, I've pretty much been an Xbox guy ever since. So I still like Gran Turismo, but Forza, especially considering they would, like, every other year or every year you'd have either a Motorsport or a Horizon, and the quality of the stuff, that was a lock for me. So having the upgrade for Horizon 4, I'm there for that as well. So I'm happy with the lineup and what I already purchased and what I have in Game Pass and all the upgrades. So for me, it works. Mileage may vary for other folks, but considering what's in the pipeline, all the studios, all the stuff that's in the works, some of the stuff got pushed back. It's eventually coming. It's not like, I know, it's going to be like Scalebound. No, it's not getting canceled. It's just getting delayed so it can get polished, fixed, worked on, and be, that go-to game, that highlight for the hardware. But that's all I got.
All right. No doubt. All right, Slayer. I'm going to let PK go last on this one. What is your thoughts on this, man?
Well, to get back to the original question, Phil Spencer made the right choice, because listen, just like was said before by Op, if somebody got sick, even just one person, how that would be received. No company wants that on their hands right now, particularly not Microsoft, because there's folks out there looking for things to point and and say negative things about. This is not a choice. Okay, you got to delay. You got to protect your staff. You gotta do the right thing. Phil's been doing the right thing for years now, and we see where we're at now. Okay, he's been making the right choices, the smart choices. So that was simple. As for everything else that the folks say, I really can't really say any more than that. I mean, facts has been laid down by the entire panel. This is just what it is, you know. And like I said in the intro, if everybody got a reason to be excited. Everybody got a reason to be excited. Come next week, you know, PC guys already got some of that already. Now the console guys about to get it next week. It's a great time to be alive, great time to be a gamer, no matter how you rock. It's that simple.
All right, straight to the point. All right, PK, what about you?
We're still talking about Phil Spencer, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure, because guess we. So I feel like when you create a culture like that, it makes people want to come to work. I know working in, my field, I'm 100% remote, and things can be difficult, but you definitely want the morale on your team to be high in order to get quality work out of them. The worst thing you could do is put more pressure on them, along with the issues that we face at hand, no matter if it's the pandemic or whatnot, right? So it's a good, at least on the surface level, it looks great. And for him to come out and say something which he don't have to do, that's also great.
Okay, all right. What about So what about the lineup issue? I mean, because I'll give my thoughts on this situation as well. And I mean, but PK, what is your thoughts about just the lineup? I mean, is it just that it's one of those things where people just want to have something to talk about, or is it concerning that Xbox hasn't delivered to some people's expectations of what a launch lineup should be?
That's like asking. That's like it's. We're in a time where we're no longer anchored to. It has to be, because think about it. 7 years ago, the best launch lineup was on Xbox One, not PlayStation. PlayStation didn't have anything. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you go back and look, and you could compare, they had maybe 3 titles that were exclusive, and the rest of them was multiplat. I mean, Xbox launched with stuff like Titanfall, and I won't say Titanfall. Red Dead 3, not Red Dead. Dead Rising 3, and a whole bunch of stuff. But people forget about it.
I'll read them out for you. The PlayStation 4's lineup at launch was Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Battlefield 4, Blacklight Retribution. No. I'm just saying their lineup. I'm not saying if it's exclusive or not. I'm saying what was available for the customers. Call of Duty Ghost, Contrast, DC Universe Online, FIFA 14, Flower, Injustice: Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition, Just Dance 2014, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Madden 25, NBA 2K14, Need for Speed Rivals, Resogun, Sound Shapes, Super Motherload, Trine 2, Complete Story, and Warframe. That don't sound like something. That don't sound like something that's. I mean, if we go in that route, I personally, from that list, there's nothing in there except for.
Well, all that was on Xbox too. So my thing is,
Killzone.
That's Killzone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like three. Was it Knack? Killzone. Killzone was trash anyway. I hated that game.
I bought Killzone and I have not played it because there's so many people that said that game is so bad.
I can tell you can only have one primary. So if you pick up a rocket launcher and you run out of ammo, you're done. Okay, that game is horrible. But the point I'm making is, you only have 2 games that were Sony that stood out. The rest of them were on Xbox, right? So when you go to the Xbox list, you have quite a bigger list that was a bigger launch lineup, right? but it's forgettable because no one talks about it. It's not a big deal. The reason why it's not a big deal because we're in this transitional phase where I mean, let's face it, not even Switch had a big lineup when it launched, right? It only had a couple games, but that doesn't stop people from buying it. Like it's not stopping people from buying it now, and it has no new games coming out this fall. So it we're in this transitional period where it's like cell phones. People buying a brand new iPhone 12, not they don't have any brand new software to go with it. They're still using the same old apps they use on their iPhone 11. That's not the point. Point is brand new, shiny, it's next gen, and I am impressed that iOS did move the needle for it on the tech wise. So it's impressive. So it's kind of exciting. I'm not even an iPhone guy, but it's kind of exciting. So we're in this transitional phase where huge launch titles don't matter as long as there's content available. As long as there's content available, that's all that matters. So yes, there's going to be people that's pointing fingers and trying to make fun, which I think is dumb because at the end of the day, what does it matter what someone else spend their money on? Their pockets have no effect on you. So people are excited for these new consoles as a whole, not just Xbox, but also PlayStation because it's brand new tech. They want to see and feel what it's like to be or to play like a PC-ish kind of power, right? That's the whole stouting and selling point. So they want to see that, they want to feel that. I know a lot of people may not achieve that because they may not have the TV to support it, might not even have the cable to go to the TV to support it, but that's where the hype is. So, as far as the games, come on, man. Most of the games on both consoles is going to be on both consoles. Period. And not even Godfall is 100% exclusive, right? So it's like outside of Spider-Man, it's there's no real console selling game at the moment, but that doesn't matter. You're not buying it for that reason because you're buying it as an investment. What PC guy is investing $3,000 into his PC and say, I need to get this one game?
All right, PK, if you move your mic away from your mouth a little bit, you won't get that feedback.
Okay, my bad.
Okay,
can you hear me better?
Perfect.
Yeah,
awesome.
Perfect. Okay,
awesome. Go ahead. Yeah. So I was just saying, how many PC guys spend a lot of money investing in their PC and say, I'm just going to get that one game?
Not many.
How many times you see a PC guy say, I'm going to invest into this because of just one game?
Nobody.
Exactly. That's my point. We're in this transitioning phase where we're starting to feel what it's like to be in that PC realm where it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It only matters that you get to enjoy what you get to enjoy on the platform or platforms of your choice, right? And yes, exclusives do matter, but since we're in this transitional phase for as technology is now advancing past the point where they can't just spit out, and I'd rather them not spit out games so quickly. I would rather them take the time to polish them and make them meaningful when we actually play them than to just spit it out. Like, I give you an example, I know a lot of people give me hate, but Avengers is straight a trash launch. I'm sorry, it is. And it's a mess. Yes, is it fun to play? Sure. But it's so buggy, it makes it unplayable. And it should have never launched in this condition. I would prefer them to push it back and polish it up. I mean, you can't tell me how many bugs that they fixed. Almost 2,000 bugs, and that game is still buggy. So, and that's at launch, since launch, rather. So I would prefer quality games, take more time, let these guys be less stressful and put it out there. I don't think nobody is buying any of these consoles worrying about what's truly going to be on it because they already have in their mind what they're going to play.
Yeah, no doubt.
Can I say something?
Well, yeah, no, I was just going to read off the list, and I was going to say, hey, anybody that wanted to kind of feed off of that, because Well, first, let me
I gotta bring it, man.
Yeah, well, okay. So
I want to go too.
Okay, so let me go ahead and say what I got to say, and then I'm going to read this list from PlayStation. Okay, so this is the lineup for PlayStation. Okay, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Astro's Playroom, Demon Souls, Destruction All Stars has got delayed, so that's not coming. Dirt 5, DMC Special Edition, Godfall, Madden 21, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Sackboy, and Watch Dogs Legion. So okay, so on Next last night, I just made this point. If it was all about launch lineups and it's what sells consoles, then the Xbox One should have dominated this gen. If you go by that metric of what people are saying back then, or is what they're saying now. That wasn't the case. And why is it that every time that we get to the end of generations, we get better games? Well, it's because first they know the tech, and then secondly, it's because they know that they want people to still invest into those consoles because they know that they're not going to be a heavy investment into the new gen, not until that second, maybe third year. You know, they'll be the hardcore, then there'll be the semi-hardcore, and then it's the casuals after that. I don't know too many casuals unless if the price is right, which we're looking at the Series X and things like that, where people will say, oh, well, that's in my price range. I want to jump on that. But overall, when it comes to launch titles, if Xbox, because it's really funny to me how these people think all the time that we don't remember what they said just a couple of years ago. I don't know if they just think that because they put their heads in the sand when shit goes bad for them on their platform that they choose, or is it that they think that everybody else does it? We remember what you guys were talking about. It wasn't about the lineup because Xbox had the more superior lineup. It was resolution, and to me, it's like, how many damn narratives are you going to keep throwing out instead of talking about what's really important? And that's about the games and the consoles and the features, which we'll get into here in a few. So go ahead, Dorian. I'm sorry, bro. I keep doing it. My bad. Do legal. What was you going to say, man?
Bear with me, man. I'm not a boss here like K-Mega. This is his show.
Man, I ain't no boss, man.
No. You the king on the show and the panel. So it's hard for me not to cut in. I'm very restricted here. But check this out, man. This is it, man. I have to let it out. Mm-hmm. It's the culture we're in. People fail to realize, man, that this is the gaming culture. The gaming culture is just the way it was, except for now, people can hide behind a keyboard or a cell phone or a monitor screen, and type and express themselves. When it used to be right out here in the streets. So now you got more fakery. You got people willing to say anything that doesn't really matter. Put it like this. The lack of true substance is of abundance. It's easier to be silly and dumb and act stupid because there's really no consequence. I mean, other than somebody blocking you or something, there's no pain in it. Back in the day, you talked all that silly stuff out on the street. Somebody slapped you upside your head. That's just gaming. That's just the way it was. Put you back in line. Made you respect the culture for what it was, just like anything else. That's why I said previously that hip hop and gaming go hand in hand. They came up around the same time and they evolved around each other. We're looking at a situation where we're not dumb. We know that we're not. What we're interested in is not just the games, but we're interested into the technology. I don't know about everybody on this panel, but I got tired of playing games at 30 frames per second. I'm a more competitor type gamer. I started whether it was trying to hit the high score or versus a fighter game, a NBA Jam game. I used to play in tournaments, so I'm very competitive. I don't know about y'all, but going for about 15 years at 30 frames per second, I was getting tired of it. I'm looking forward to the Xbox Series X because of the power that it can give to me as a gamer. I don't care about just the games in general. I understand that there is going to be a lackluster of games because This is new technology coming to the consoles. The PC community had this high quality of technology differential, but now the point that Microsoft is doing with AMD and NVIDIA, the purpose is combining the experiences together. Now, note, nobody wants to talk about this, but this is the facts. Here's the facts. Your PlayStation 5 isn't bringing you next generational level of quality gaming. Let's just get that out the gate.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to get to that point. Yeah, we're going to get to that point.
Right. We're going to get that. You got to get out of your feelings and come to the realization of that, okay? Mm-hmm. That's one thing. Second, when we talk next generation, we're talking the features. We're talking the smart delivery. We're talking the hardware ray tracing ability. We're talking the smart delivery. Did I say that? Velocity architecture, the load times. We're tired of all that. This is why we're moving forward. That has nothing to do with the gaming lineup. That has everything to do with the experience before we get to the gaming lineup. You learn what you buy, right? We don't just buy stuff that we don't know. So the catch pitch was all those features first. They were telling us all those features, and we was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Man, to be able to sit here and do that, you mean to tell me I don't have to wait? I don't have to wait through my games no more. I don't have to do this, and I don't have to do that. Hey, they threw up the SSD, all these things. That's what was hyping it up, because we knew, any real gamer knew, that the true next generational lineup was not coming in on the launch day. These devs have to have time to get used to this stuff. Now, granted, are there some games that are going to be able to utilize this stuff? Sure, because during their development, they started maybe just 2 years ago or maybe a year and a half ago, so they were able to catch it. But for those who may started doing these games this year, and we just heard of these games this year, like nobody was talking about the Medium last year. Nobody was talking about Scorn last year, the Falconeer last year. None of them games. We just heard these games this year. A Bright Memory Infinite this year. So we're excited to see what this console is truly about first. Once we get to that point, then we're hungry. Now we're monsters. Feed me more. We're like the Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me, Seymour. We want those games. So now we're looking at, okay, we get past this winter. We know the game lineups that are coming out. Majority of them going to be, of course, always during the winter time are the high caliber third-party games. It's nothing new. So once we get out of that, we go into the next year. We can expect to start seeing new IPs, new games coming up, new abilities within the games, and we can start assessing in 2021. We can't truly start assessing right now because the devs really didn't have enough time. So it's more of just it's like K-Mega was saying, the hardcore gamers are going to be the day one gamers. Then you have your procrastinator gamers that are going to come maybe 6 months later, they'll grab it. Then a year or two later, you have...
I call them the income tax.
The income tax. No, that's true. That's true. You got your income tax gamers that'll wait to the income tax to get that. It's so true. And then the next ones will be the summer to the next fall.
Right.
And then you have that. Then you'll have that quiet time. That year after that. That year after that. Then you have that special third year where because it'll go on.
Because it goes on sale. Yeah, it's the cash. It goes cheap, and it's the
That has been K-Mega, man. We're real gamers, right?
I mean, everybody on the panel is real gamers. We know
there
this.
You go.
The people that's listening, they know. They know.
There it is. So there's nothing new about the formula. The only thing that's changed now is that we are going to share a PC experience, but only, that's the key word, only if you're on Xbox Series X or on your PC that has the DirectX 12 logo, which will be on the NVIDIA, or the AMD, what is it? The RX, I think 5000 to 6000 series.
It's the Radeon or whatever?
Yeah, the Radeon
6000 and 6000.
Yeah.
That's it. If you don't have, now this is the truth. This is where, you're a fanboy, because people don't like the truth. But here's what it is, man. If you don't have those, you're not next generation. That's just it. Now you can be happy. Now let's go back to what PK was saying. We're not telling anybody where they should be happy at, where they want to book console they want to buy. We're not advocating any of that. We're saying go buy and enjoy the games and platforms that you prefer. But when you open up your mouth, this generation that's coming up, when you open up your mouth and you start talking next generation, you better have that PC with those qualifications to it, or that Xbox Series X,
or the television. All right, so we got
or that television. That's correct.
I got to move on. But well said. I mean, you was right on everything that you said. All right, Slayer, your turn. And I see that Bloody's in here, man. I'll get to. Well, you'll probably get to the last. Well, I'll hit him up and see what if he wants to hit up the last topic. But go ahead, Slayer. Give your point.
Yeah, well, half of what I wanted to say, Legal already said. But to go back to the beginning, what he said, this internet made things real messed up in society in general. A lot of fringe elements, a lot of stupid opinions from worthless people is being spread like wildfire all the time. Now, I don't want to get too hard into the fanboy wars and say one side or the other, but it's just facts. When you look at the Xbox fans, if there are fringe Xbox fans saying ridiculous stuff, the rest of the Xbox community shuts that down. On the PlayStation side, that doesn't happen. They repeat that. And shout out to So Shady in the chat. He gave me this idea to even mention these things, because when Legal was talking, that was some of the stuff I wanted to say and I had nothing else to say. Right. But you see it in the press now. What's his name? Jason Schreier. Kotaku. He don't even work there anymore at Kotaku. And Kotaku's still running wild saying absolute bullshit. And you would think the PlayStation community would be like, dude, shut up with that crap. That ain't true. Because if it was Xbox, some Xbox fanboy saying some OD ridiculousness, the Xbox community would have been jumping all that. What the hell are you talking about? It's straight garbage. We hear garbage all day, every day from these fanboys trying to act like their side is right when there's black and white facts. It's like the sky is blue, water is wet. The Xbox, the more powerful console, and most people play multi-plats. So you want the most powerful system to leverage those multi-plats, the technologies, the features. Xbox brings, and I've said this before, and Legal has touched on this, it brings PC features to the console. And the Xbox did one better with the voice chat, the communication. Was it Legal who said that? Was it Fuzz? I think it was Fuzzy who said, playing Destiny on PlayStation, nobody's communicating. Meanwhile, on Xbox, you hop on, because that's built into the Xbox DNA from day one of Xbox Live. We all had mics. It was in that kit. Everybody had a mic.
Yeah, Xbox gamers were integrated well before PlayStation.
We communicate.
Gamers.
We team up. We're tactical with ours, If we're playing team deathmatch, we calling out spots. You look in Call of Duty now; it's built into the thing. You know where you are because it tells you. You don't have to make a call out term for where you at or the church steps or whatever, and you make some name for it. It's built in a game now. If you're at some church steps, it says right above the map, church steps. You don't even have to make up, a terminology amongst your friends in case you're playing with somebody else. It's built in it. That Xbox did that. Even PC didn't really rock with mics to communicate like that. So Xbox made it standard, and then everybody does it now, except for Nintendo. But Nintendo do how Nintendo do. Like, technically they have their own bullshit, but even they messed it up. It is what it is. People are talking about exclusives and all this stuff. Yeah, it entices you to get it day one, but there's how many years you're gonna have that system, and it's those games and features and things they add after the fact. Features that you don't have day one, like Party Chat on the 360. That wasn't day one. That was years later. Now you can't think of not having that. You can't imagine not having, Party Chat on your online experience when you play your console or PC. That's just what? No, you can't live without that. Now, you could say there's some negatives with that, where if you're playing online, you Party Chat with your friends who aren't playing that same game. Now you're not communicating with the folks you're playing with, and so there's the give and take with that. You see, I keep it honest that it's not a perfect thing, but there you have it. But I'll just leave it at that because this is the first topic and we still here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's usually that kind of how I like it rolls. But Well, the next topic is going to be good and juicy, so we'll just get into that. But Bloody, good to have you here, brother. Did you want to touch on anything about the whole launch lineup situation, or about what Phil said about the launch, the launch, and he had to put people, had to kind of separate things, and because of the pandemic and things like that. Do you want to touch on any of that before we go to the second topic?
I mean, from what I heard from everyone before I jumped in, it has already been touched on, and
Okay.
to be honest, there's not much to say on it. This launch, especially with these next gen consoles from both the PS5 and the Xbox, we've never had any sort of event like what's going on with the global pandemic right there, right? We've never had anything like affect this to the scale to where everyone's been kind of set back the way that everyone has. It's changed everything. You got to look at what happened when it first started, that a lot of the manufacturing from both console makers and stuff like that, they're trying to see how it's going to affect their parts with everything that they have from their global production companies out there in China and Mexico and Korea and everything like that, to just put the consoles together. And that's looking at the hardware and how that was affected. So then you have to look at how software manufacturing works and everything that they have to do. Yeah, you could say that software is easier to handle than hardware, but if you look at it in that aspect, you're also talking about games that have teams of several hundred people that were able to easy to communicate easier before, when they're all in the same office. Now they're separated and having to utilize all sorts of different software to one, be able to communicate with things like Zoom, Discord, Microsoft Teams, whatever they're using. And in that aspect, it's taking a little bit longer to communicate because of the fact that everyone's separated. You can't just go, get up from your chair, take what you have and send it to, Phil, who's like 4 cubicles down the way, and be like, hey, look, I sent you something. What do you think? Now you have to wait until they're able to actually see it on their computer and then have to send it back or anything like that. And it's going to take time. This is completely on a different scale. So honestly, everyone's launch lineup is affected. Even Sony's. Yeah, you can say, oh, Sony has whatever they're going on with their console and things like that. But even still, they may have games that are PS5 only, but realistically, they also have a back, a held back version that's current for the PS4 consoles. The only games that I look at that's on the PS5 that's next gen only is, I see Godfall and Demon's Souls. You could play Astro's Playroom on the PS4. You could play Miles Morales on the PS4, and things like that. Yes, they have their next gen only features, but at the same time, it's still a title that is cross gen, just like we're seeing on the Xbox. It's one of those things of that right now, both launch lineups are affected. The biggest thing that they have right now is obviously the pushing from third party that are trying to help the next gen move. Look at all the third party titles on Xbox that have absolutely taken advantage of the Series X and the Series S with their hardware and everything else, trying to use that new optimization that they have with that hardware, but they still are playable on the Xbox One, just like on the PS5 has versions that are still made for the PS4. The launch lineups on both consoles were heavily affected by this, and anyone who tries to say otherwise is just denying themselves. They're just trying to spout bullshit.
Bloody Knuckles is right. Let's not forget the coronavirus, people.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so okay, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go to the oh yeah. That's right. I had 2 things. I had like 4 things, and right when Bloody stopped, and I was like, okay, there it is. Hey, some people in the chat, Bloody, is wondering, did your balls finally drop because you got a deeper voice? What happened?
Oh no, man! I'm just it is what it is because of the fact that I'm chill. I was like, everyone knows that when I get
you sound either high or you tired. Which one?
nah, it's the fact
You
of
just chill. You
that.
just melt.
Yeah, because of the fact that I'm speaking truth. I was like, everyone knows
Okay.
that when I get excited, I talk faster, and then it
In
just
high
goes up
pitch,
from there.
yeah. Okay, all right. I didn't know if when you went in your sabbatical, you gave some, you work your Satan rings gave you some kind of power to, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You might next
Nah,
time I
bro.
see
Oh
you.
yeah,
The man's
Yeah,
a new man.
yeah. Next time
Hey
I
man,
see you, you know what I'm
hey,
saying? You
hey.
like 6'7", and you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So
Oh
I don't
no,
know.
no, that I didn't grow magically, but I'll tell you what, the power of the Satan rings gave me the power to see the future and speak the truth that no one wants to hear.
Woo! All right, cool. So speaking of the future, let's get into the next topic, man. And this is kind of going to be a bunched thing, right? So I'm going to, and Fuzzy, you're going to be the first person I go with this. And this is just PlayStation and what's going on with this. Like there was something that just came out. Early, all this news has been coming out. For one, the PlayStation 5 won't support 1440p on monitors. The PlayStation 5 won't support expandable storage at launch. It will be at a situation where it will lock. It's locked to the point to where if you even put anything in there, it still ain't gonna work. You got to get a patch from Sony in order for that to work. Then also about Godfall, a game that they touted, a game that they said that it was going to be exclusive. Now, come to find out, it is timed exclusive. So most likely, it's going to come to Xbox, maybe even the Switch, especially if the Switch has some kind of Pro or anything. And then this right here, this came from Nebel, I think that's how you say his name, Nebelin. He says there's been some reports that you can store PS5 games on external hard drives and then load. PK, you all right?
Yep, I'm just back. Sorry.
Oh, all right. And then load them back into the internal SSD to play them. But this appears to be inaccurate. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what you cannot do, you cannot. So your PS4, so the games that you got stored on your external, you put it into your PS5, it ain't gonna work. And so then you got the situation with the controller and all these features. And then also, and lastly, Fuzzy, we're starting to see now comparisons between the speeds of how these games are coming out. And now what you're starting to see is that the Series X, the one that has doesn't have this all-powerful mighty SSD that the PlayStation have, is beating the PlayStation 5. And in some games that I've seen today, handily. So go ahead and explain all of this. What is going on? Is this just traditional Sony how we know it, or is there something going on here? Is there something that gamers should be concerned about?
All right, on the SSD, somebody, I don't know if it was Cerny or whoever, somebody forgot to hit the switch. I mean,
oh my goodness.
Hey, they touted the SSD being super, super fast, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess that's only going to be for first party games.
Yeah.
And I kind of said something like this way back when people were talking about it, and I'm like, people got a program for that. The devs got a program for it. But
yeah, I'm sorry. I've got to make one more point to this. I didn't add more to it. It was and thank you, Jazzy Noob. He says you can't even move PS5 games to the external hard drive. Yeah. That was another point. Okay, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's so many like little things, and it's like, are they like deal breakers? Probably not for some. I mean, it all depends. Like if you have good internet, just download it to your PS5 and be done with it, and then delete it when you finish it, type of thing. But not being able to change things like your background or just random little things like the not the SSD, but the expand drive, not being able to use it with certain monitors. I mean, Jim Ryan did say, they believe in generations, so maybe they'll do a blog post later on how they get this firmware fixing all these things that they forgot to put in there at launch, type of deal. But for me, if I'm able to get this PS5 on next Thursday, which I'm gonna try, they blew their wad as far as preparing people or giving us enough time to pre-order them. This is just them sounding like they're unprepared. Now, I'm not saying the new management with Jim Ryan is not up to job or up to snuff as far as the job is concerned, but it just seems like little things. And yeah, we can probably look at coronavirus as far as possibly being responsible for some of these miscommuniques and things being out of sorts, but I don't know. I just feel like these are some of the things that are kind of being rushed in this new post-COVID bubble type of deal. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Jim Ryan is not the guy. He may have been the best lead for PlayStation for Europe for all these years previously, but give me Sean Layden back. I mean, I'll be honest. I play both systems. Give me Sean Layden back, and things will be all right in PlayStation land as far as I'm concerned. This Jim Ryan guy, I mean, some people compare him to Matrick. Some people compare him to Trump, but I'm not even going to get into that.
Oh man,
it's just somebody that says they believe in generations just to avoid taking the heat while Xbox is taking the heat, and then it's like, oh, let's put in a blog post later that we don't really believe in generations because you can play this on your existing PlayStation 4. I'm not surprised that some of this stuff is just like half-assed or last minute or whatever. It'll be fixed with the firmware, but hey, no clue on when that's coming. So we'll see. But it's un-Sony like. Let's just say. I mean, well, at least the Sean Layden Sony. So that's all I got.
All right. Okay. So PK, what do you think about this, man? I mean, all of these things, and like Fuzzy said, they're not deal breakers, but it was just like what Doc Otter said, or Dark Ottoman said last night. You can only play me for so long before it's going to, and I'm paraphrasing, but you can only play me for so long before before I'm gonna understand that I'm the fool in this relationship. And if this storage situation isn't fixed or resolved in a short amount of time, it's going to make me pissed off at Sony. So that's exactly that part he said at the end, exactly what he said last night. So what do you think, PK? All of these little things that's going on, man, what is going on? Why are they even bringing this console out like this with all of these type of little issues that's going on?
First of all, they don't view it as an issue.
Talk about it.
Okay. It was designed that way. It was not an accident. Okay. They knew that you can't put PS5 games on external. They kind of alluded to it, right? When they, just like Xbox said, well, you could use externals, but only Xbox One and 360 titles will work on externals. Like, you can't use. The thing is, Sony said something similar, but they didn't say PlayStation 5 games. You know what I mean? They said PS4 games will work on externals, but externals are not even enabled by default in the beginning. But this is design choice. And I'm not looking at it, like I said, I don't think they see it as an issue. I think they see it as part of their plan. And it's kind of like they're going to do this in phases when it's ready, and it's probably not ready. Mainly because they don't have a actual, basically they don't have a person to say, hey, this SSD or this NVMe is good, right? They don't know what that looks like. And because they don't know what that looks like, they don't know what, you get what I'm saying? Like, they don't know where to go with that, and it's probably in development. So right now, they feel like people are just going to suck it up and be okay anyway.
So they basically overshot their load by bragging about these SSDs, but then not understanding that they should have done the same thing that Microsoft has done. Just go and get a third party or a second party to have the actual SSD that will work for the PlayStation 5 for the time being before everything else can become available. Is that what you're alluding to?
Well, they're Japanese, bro. Like, they're not trying to technically partner up. They want to be different. That's why their controller doesn't change. They want to be different. They want to be identified.
Well, this controller is getting a lot of great feedback, though, PK.
I'm talking about the design of their controller.
Wow.
The design of the controller is the same. And it's not that it's bad or good. It's just they want to be different. They don't want the to partner up, because if they have to partner up, then what? They got to partner up with the Koreans because they, their tech is killing them in Japan, or partner up with American. And I know that they didn't not like partner up with Microsoft for the Azure, but they're the cheapest cloud provider outside of Google. Google's is not established enough to say, hey, they could do it. So it's either that or AWS, and AWS is much larger and more expensive. So it's like it's hard to bite these bullets and try to remain Japanese. So again, everything they do is in a Japanese way of doing. And far as this, the president of Sony in America, he is not the president. Let's be real. He's not a Phil Spencer. This guy is getting told what to say and what to do. This is why he always got to backtrack. He's basically doing what they're telling him to do.
And you know what? That part, I have read that there's been situations where even like the developers on when some of the games where they would like maybe the head of matter of fact the with The Last of Us 2, they said something was like the game was ready to go, and then but the heads at Sony said nope, it's not. And so they had to change up and say, nope, it's not ready to go. I mean, we good. We can't wait to do it, but our employer, our boss tells us, when we can release it or not. So yeah, I have heard some things about that as well.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying is anything bad with being different. My main thing is they choose, like, they didn't want the full RDNA architecture, mainly because they will have to still use more Microsoft techniques and APIs, right? They'll have to use that DirectX 12 Ultimate, direct storage, et cetera, and they didn't want to do that. They want to do their own thing, and they want to continue to do their own thing. And that's kind of what it is Sony is going to always push, and just like Nintendo, they're going to always push to do and try to identify themselves as different, because that's their thing. That's their space. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's kind of like when you look at these the SSD comparisons. Now it's the shoe is on the other foot, right? It was 7 years ago. It was about 900p and 1080p. Now it's SSD loads. And then people are saying, well, it's not optimized. Well, it's not optimized on the Series X either, but it's doing better. Matter of fact, I know that GameSpot did a test with Batman Arkham Knight, which don't even have a Series X patch. Period. But it still loads faster on the Series X. And then what they do, the Avengers, which loads like 2 years to get into a game, and it took it 2 minutes.
It took it 2 minutes, and then
all these games are not patched, right? Now, all these games are not optimized, I should say, but it shows that one, it's not going to matter much between the SSDs. Yes, they both are fast as crap, but because of the API direct storage, which will be available on Windows next year, or velocity, or whatever you want to call the whole architecture, it's smart, right? They're using technology, not just the hardware, but the software that runs in tangent to be able to decompress and move this data through the pipes quicker. And so it doesn't matter at the end of the day. And that kind of shows that Microsoft's forward thinking when they come to partnering with AMD to design this architecture, right? And that's kind of what I'm saying. And so Sony didn't want to do that. They wanted to do their own thing, and they wanted to stand out with their own way. So they put a lot of R&D into this SSD, but not realizing that you still need your CPU to talk to it to be able to tell it how to break down and move this data through these pipes, and then how is it going to move through these pipes? How is all this stuff going to work in a cohesive manner?
Yo, PK.
Yeah.
What's the main reason why you think they did that?
Again, it's a design choice.
I think it's more of the price, because you gotta understand something. That new tech
about
costs
that a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
The new tech costs, and they
spent more money on their SSD. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of things they could have saved money on. I mean, they don't even have their cooling system is primitive, right? So I think what happened was, judging by how it's designed and how the cooling system designed, etc., is they designed how they wanted it to look first before they started building the tech that would fit in it. And that's why it's designed that way. That's just my thought. I might be wrong. I just think they did it backwards, is what I'm saying. I think they were thinking about how cool it should look before they thinking about the tech, and then Microsoft.
Sony is always good for that. Yeah, Sony always want to have.
So
Sony
that's
definitely
why
cares
it
about
looks
design.
like a box, because
that's some Apple thing. Yeah,
he wanted, and Phil Spencer did not want to sacrifice on the tech and reliability, so that's why it looks the way it does. Not saying it's a bad way to go either way. I'm just saying that's just my thought. I don't think it's, and don't get me wrong, price is always involved, but I don't think it had anything to do with how they designed it. I think it was more or less a look first and then put stuff in it last, and then they started running into issues, right? And because they did not go with partnering with AMD, they kind of just got a custom chip and just went on. This is why they had to go with certain solutions to fix the problems.
But that's where I'm at. There's a reason why they didn't partner with AMD. There's a reason.
Right. Because one, it's part American, part Korean technology there, right? And then, I mean, they just don't want to do that.
Well, what I'm saying is the partnership, the main partnership that happened was Microsoft and AMD, because AMD, that's what I keep trying to say to people. There's a movement that's happening. The resources is what's really happening. Sony doesn't have the integrated resources to go where the vision is at for the future of gaming.
But I think out of that, I don't think it's that, because Sony got enough money to get all the resources that they want. They've shown that they got the capabilities.
They don't have a cloud infrastructure.
Well, no. But what I'm saying,
that's yeah.
This is exactly why they bought into the cloud.
But what was
that has nothing to do with their that has nothing to do with their deals with AMD though. Okay. So the thing I'm saying is, I think I understand where you're coming from.
But that's the secret. That's the key. That's what people are not understanding. You can't go with a vision part in part, right? Either Sony doesn't have it's a customer. You can't expect a customer to create its you can't expect the customer to own a store. It's like you're gonna have the person that owns the store, you're gonna have the customer. Sony is the customer, so therefore it can't. It's got to get its parts from somewhere. It's got to get its items from somewhere, right?
I understand what you're saying.
So the key,
but hold on, legal. We gotta we'll get to you. You're gonna be the last one that I'm gonna go to. So yeah, so you make your point. You make your point, and I don't mind. You what you call it, but I want to get.
No, it's good stuff. I'm trying to remember it all, man.
No. It's fine.
I'm itching, but I'm trying not to.
Because PK always don't really have his time, and so I'm letting him have as much time as he wants to.
Oh, okay. So PK's making some good points.
No, he makes great points. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if people ask questions or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. But you can't drown PK out.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, PK. Finish up.
No, okay. So like I said, I understand what you're saying, but Sony has been in business forever. They understand how this stuff works. They're not new to this game. Their partnership or their deal with AMD, they could easily do the same thing. Okay, because AMD's in it to make their profits bigger. So if they can partner with Sony to make their architecture much better, they will do that. But Sony chose to make their own decisions as a design choice. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm just saying it's just their decision. At the end of the day, I understand parts and all that stuff costs, but they can do it if they really wanted to invest. I mean, let's be real. The PS5's cooling solution actually costs more than the Xbox Series X cooling
That
solution.
thing is huge.
No, I'm not just talking about the heatsink. I'm talking about the metal liquid cooling. All that stuff cost.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention the R&D money they spent to create that fast SSD. They spent more money on that stuff than Microsoft does with their tech. And it's not that they couldn't save money. They just, again, that's why I keep believing that they just designed the console first and then put the stuff in it, because it would not make sense not to have the simple mechanic cooling solutions that will save the money and they can still get the same uh, results. So they spent more money on different things that I felt, just my personal belief, that they could have just avoided. Like, I don't think metal liquid cooling is necessary. I don't think not having a vapor chamber, like that alone, I mean, that is current gen technology. They're not using current gen technology in cooling outside the metal liquid cooling, which is unnecessary, I think. But they had to do it probably because of their design choice, right? A lot of these new things we never seen before, like their expansion bay, you got to take your machine apart. Now, I'm not saying that's a huge hassle, but when you think about it, why did they design it this way? It's probably because it was already drawn up on paper and they said, this is what we want it to be. And then they started putting tech in it. That's why it doesn't have an expansion out. And you can't just put slots in, et cetera, et cetera. That's why they didn't think about that. That's not part of their scope. So I think in general, and I'm going to end it here, but because I don't want to keep repeating myself, but in general, they just made a design choice because they want to stand out from everybody to do what they're doing. They want a talking point. And even though this talking point has diminishing returns, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how fast the SSD is if you cannot compress and move the data through the pipes just as fast as the SSD can load it. It doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, it's going to load just as they're going to be the same on how fast they load, or as we see as of right now, at least on backwards compatible games, Xbox loads faster, and they're both unoptimized.
And you know what? That's a great point, because the only comparison that like Digital Foundry and others out there can really have is the speeds of third party or older titles. I mean, God of War could load up in a millisecond, but you can't compare that to Gears, or to a new Gears, or to to the Hellblade 2. You see what I'm saying? So the only comparison that they got is a multiplat, and the multiplats, and right now, as of today, Xbox is winning that battle. That's a really great point. So let me get to the friendly neighborhood blue shell brother. I did not forget you. I seen that. He said the storage news is going to really hurt the Midwest bad. Internet rule PlayStation gamer. Bro, hey, you nailed it. That's, again, if Sony doesn't fix these issues going in a quick manner, it's just like, for me, for instance, just making up the just thinking about Crackdown 3. The multiplayer didn't live up to the expectation of what was shown a couple of years before they showed, a couple of years before the game came out. But the game, the multiplayer wasn't bad. It was fun. It had, you know what I'm saying? I enjoyed it. But what killed it was the fact that they waited way too damn long to fix it. I know that they were probably working as fast as they could or whatever, but overall, the game was already scrutinized. And then when you look at it, and they took all damn day to get to, I mean, they took what 6 months to fix that multiplayer. People was done with it. Hell, I was even done with it. And then when I come back, then the shit was dead. So if PlayStation, and I know PlayStation is not this arrogant. Well, they can be pretty arrogant, but I know that they're not this. They can't be this arrogant by trying to flex because saying, "Oh, we're Sony. You will wait on us." Because the gamer will, the diehard PlayStation fan will wait for him, but the casual is gonna be like, nah, bro, deuces, fuck y'all, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I see there's a PC that I can go buy, or I can learn how to build, or there's an Xbox that I can buy, and there's a Nintendo that might have an upgrade I can buy. I will get my fix some kind of way, and if I can't, and if I got to go through all these hassles and these little situations right now that's just, that's right now on the surface right now, is it that big of a deal? Just wait if we go into December when little Johnny or little, or little Shamika want to sit here and play something and they can't because of some other, some storage issues. It's gonna really hit their ass. All right, let me go ahead and get to the super chat, and then I'm gonna go straight to you on this op, and then Slayer, then Bloody, then I'm gonna go to my main man, Legal. My man, you know what I'm saying? Dragonheart Yobi. He says, it's some big BS going on. Sony rushed out the PS5. I don't care what nobody thinks. Microsoft slapped the hell out of them at the VGAs. Believe PlayStation 5 really was supposed to come out in 2021. That's a great point. What do you guys think about that quickly? Anybody?
I think 2019, but that's going to be something I'm going to jump off on when it's my turn. That's definitely something I want to jump off of.
Okay, yeah, well, definitely I can't wait to hear that. Anybody else? I just want to hear what everybody's thoughts on that. Legal, what do you think about that? Quickly, like, what do you think? Do you think that Yobi is on to something, that maybe the PlayStation, maybe Sony was, I thought that, maybe that they really wanted to come out next year instead of this year, but Xbox kind of pushed them into it?
Man, I'm the king of already making this prediction.
Oh, you did?
Said
Okay.
This in 2018, man.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
That the PlayStation 5, if it comes out any sooner between 2021 and 2022, we're going to see failures. And we're going to see failures at a high capacity. Because people don't understand, man. You can't rush production. There's things called quality control. These SOCs that Bloomberg was talking about is no joke. Over 4 million of these things are messed up. You got to understand how companies work, man. This pre-order stuff on the Sony side of things, it's just trial and error, man. They want to know which ones are bad. So for every one of you guys that go out here, buy a PlayStation 5, knowing that SOCs are messed up, I don't understand the sense in that. But if you do get it and it's messed up, you understand. You're going to make that complaint, and you're going to act like you didn't understand or you didn't know, and then you send it back. You're helping Sony fix the problem. I'm done talking about it.
All right. Okay, Fuzzy, Yobi's question, Yobi's thought on that. Do you think that, maybe Sony was looking at 2021, 2022?
Originally, I think before Corona hit, I think they were still kind of looking at 2020. And the thing is, in 2019 is when it started hitting their production, as far as with China having to push everything back. So I think they were on track, let's say, as far back as last November for a 2020 release. But as things progress, throughout the year, and China shut down for a bit, and everybody was pretty much on lockdown, I think they were hoping for 2021, but I think they saw how Xbox was going global. They didn't want to, have that gap. They didn't want to leave that chance, or that they didn't want to leave money on the table, basically.
Because they basically did that with the Xbox 360, and then they got walloped. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's because AMD switched their projection from Polaris and Vega to Navi RDNA, and that threw the whole wrench in the whole plans, bro. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
What about you, PK? What is your thoughts on this? Do you think that the production, Sony wanted to bring out the PlayStation 5 next year?
So this kind of stuff been in the planning since when PS4 came out. They didn't wait until like 2019 to say, "Hey, I'm gonna make a PlayStation 5." They've been researching and working with AMD on their next technology, for years. So, yes, there's production issues because of the pandemic, but in general, they knew what their competition was doing, just like Phil Spencer knows what his competition is doing. So their plan was to make sure that they launch worldwide alongside their competition so that they don't get a jump.
Okay.
Now, of course, we don't. I don't know how much detail they know, but they all know what they're doing at some capacity. So I don't think that they were like, we want to come out in 2021. No, I think they were pretty much done with PS4. They already had plans. They already had their R&D done, and the PlayStation 5 was probably already designed for after the Xbox One X was released, right?
Mm-hmm.
They already knew what they were going to do. They just, of course, just like anything else, it takes time to get all that stuff together to prepare for the launch. But yeah, there's some issues right now. But,
all right. Op, what about you? Do you think about the production situation? You think that they rather went next year, or it's just like what PK is saying that they already had everything laid out. It's just that the pandemic has probably put a kibosh on some things.
It could have been a pandemic that actually, I guess, slowed down the production and everything, but this console looks like a whole ass mess right now, to be perfectly honest with you right now. Like, not just, bruh, don't be real facetious with my rant right now. Like, I know.
Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna get to you after Slayer. So if you got a long rant, I gotta go to Slayer.
No, it's not gonna be long.
Okay. Get your rant on then. Okay, go ahead.
I know this console wasn't made in 2 years, but it's looking like it at this point. It's like, he's 100% right. These are design choices they made, but the feasibility of these design choices makes no sense in my mind. Of course, I'm not well versed in this industry, so my knowledge is very small in it. But like, this console like a goddamn disaster at this point. Like, they're having memory issues at launch. This will come in a patch later on, apparently. Like in all honesty, it should have been delayed until next year. Like, for people who are like pre-ordered, go get it day one. I hope it's everything you want it to be. In patch 1.05 in 2021 at this point, bro. Because come on, bro, you can't even expand your storage until later on. They have to work it in afterwards, bro. That's ridiculous.
Talk to them.
And on top of that, bro, the SSD, the shit they've been capping for all these months. As far as we've seen so far, it beats Xbox by 1 second and booting up from cold start, bro. What the fuck is that? Like, come on, of all the shit they capping for, that's it. So far, they even claim to fame. Come on, man. Like, man, throw his console in the trash, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Damn! Wow! You usually the voice of reason.
He's savage.
Yeah,
no, I assure you, he's being very nice.
Wow. Okay, all right. So I can't wait to hear what Op got to say here. Okay, so Bloody, what about you? Quick, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to get to you when it comes to this whole topic that we're still talking about. But what Yobi was bringing up about 2021, that Sony might been looking and targeting 2021 instead of 2020, but it's just like what PK was saying is, like some people, they just want Xbox to get the jump, or are you agreeing with PK of what he's saying is like they've already had this planned out, it's just that it was pretty much the pandemic. I think that, he's going to grab his Satan rings to get his deep voice back again. So, or he's
I'm here.
Okay, there you go. Oh no, see, you got to get that deep voice again.
So just kind of listening, right, and just kind of knowing that everyone's right, and you've all seen that I've been every new article about it, I've called out and been kind of stating that the PS5 has just been treated as an afterthought. They had no idea what they were doing. I think that as PK put it, that they were designing it back in 2019, like trying to get an idea. But when they saw that Microsoft already had everything put together, they already had their console already fully designed all the way out, from its actual physical enclosure to even its internals and everything that they wanted to do. Because you look at how they surprised everyone at the VGAs back in 2019 in November. Then come February, almost March, 3-4 months later, they had a full teardown of their console and be like, hey, look, this is everything that we're doing with this machine. PlayStation wasn't ready for that. They had no idea what they were even going to put into
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And you look at the fact that they're just like, no, guys, we're already teasing the PS5, right? They're like, well, crap. They're like, we have to come up with something. And you look at the fact that they didn't show anything for 4, 5, 6 months later until almost September when they finally revealed, or what was it? No, it wasn't revealed until almost August or so, until the midsummer, that they actually showed off more of the console.
They didn't show off the console until what? It was at the end of July. But like when they actually showed like the teardown and all that stuff, that was just in October.
Yeah. So you look at the fact that
was just last month.
They're just like they just barely showed, hey, look, this is what our console looks like. And it's like, all right, cool. We had all these crazy looking designs of the console and all these different concepts that were floating around on what it looks like and dev kits and stuff like that. But then when we actually got to see what it actually physically looks like, it's like, okay, well, it's slick looking, right? It looks slick, but everyone's just like, well, what is it actually going to have into it? Because everyone was just unsure, just guessing what we saw. And then when we saw the teardown, you can see that it was something that was hastily put together. And what they're doing with this console is what really affected Xbox back during the 360 era. You know, we talk about how successful the 360 era was, but also everyone needs to remember that the 360 era also was heavily rushed because they tried to get that out well before the PS3 launched. And then we saw what happened with the Red Ring, right? A lot of overheating issues. There was a lot of bad cooling solutions because of what Don Matrick was kind of rushing with them on back then. And look at what almost happened to the Xbox as an entire brand. And as a console manufacturer, what would have happened if they didn't make the decisions that they did back then? Because remember, the people who kind of helped to save Xbox back then was Phil Spencer himself, because he was talking in that meeting with Steve Ballmer back then and said, look, we're going to have a lot of consoles that are going to be affected by this, and we need to be willing to, replace them. And look at how long the Red Ring of Death really affected the 360 era. You had several years worth of consoles, even when they were trying to improve the manufacturing, it was still something that wasn't fully perfected until we started seeing the later models, especially with the Jasper models of the 360, that the Red Ring was no longer affecting. And that was 3, almost 4 years into its life cycle, because that's when the Jasper models first introduced HDMI and not the standard component that we were seeing with the early iterations of the 360.
NVG.
And you look at how much of what they showed off. Everything has just been fast put together, brute force, sort of quick solutions that are just not fully fleshed out and aren't going to work. We talked about their cooling solution with the fact that they're using an entire heat pipe. That heat pipe is almost the entire size of the console, and they said that it works as good as a vapor chamber. No, it doesn't. You're spreading it out across a massive amount of fins that are having to be cooled down by one giant fan that's not even going to properly ventilate, because of the fact that it's circling all the air in where it's pulling it in, and it's having to rotate it. It's having to rotate it through the entire system and forced it out through the back. Whereas if you look at how they have it set with the Xbox, it's drawing the air from the bottom and everything's separated enough to allow proper airflow and then vent it out the top. It's not built in a way that's going to properly allow the right amount of heat dissipation through the system. They're going to have a lot of overheating issues. Will it be on the level of the Red Ring of Death? I doubt it, but it's a possibility. That's also running in line with the fact of how they were saying that they had to lower the amount of production based on SoC issues that they were having with the chips. when they were still in production, lowering their original amount from 15 million to 11 million. And people are trying to say, no, that's not true. But looking at everything now, I believe that absolutely is a fact. And then looking at the fact that their cooling solution for the actual CPU itself is liquid metal. You talk to any PC enthusiast, liquid metal is not a long-term solution. It tends to dry out and need constant reapplication, but these consoles are self-made PCs that are enclosed. You're not going to have people opening their console all the way down to their CPU to be able to re-add more liquid metal to it. So this console, honestly, the way that the PS5 is as it is right now, is only going to last maybe 2-3 years, which is all they need.
Your mic is tripping out. Like you sound like sorry. There you go.
Yeah, it's like your main mic got unplugged and you want some backup instead.
Yeah, like you walking around talking. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna let you just have your turn and then I'll go to Slayer. Go ahead.
Yeah. But the biggest thing is the fact that
it's still going on. It's still going on.
Is it still going? Hell, let me turn my mic off.
Now you sound like you worshiping the Satan rings right now.
Oh, okay, hang on.
All right.
All right. Sorry about that. But like I said, it's just the fact of that.
It's still going on. It's still happening.
I don't know why it's doing that.
I don't know. It sounds like you just start getting up and start talking.
Yeah, well, at least we know what he's saying, so let him just.
Yeah. So go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish because we can still hear you. It's just So go ahead.
I don't know. But like I was saying, the biggest aspect of this is the fact that the way that they put this together, this is not a console that can last the entire generation. The PS5 as it is right now is not going to last at all. It's built in the fact of, hey, we may be able to push this and make it last for 2, maybe 3 years before we have any major issues. If you look at the way that they put together the Series X, this could last the entire generation. Just like some of the 360s and even some of the Xbox Ones were able to, despite how slow the OG One X was, it was still able to work for the most part. But to really get usage out of all the later updates and enhancement, you needed that either that's One S or the One X. But the way that the Series X is built,
now you sound like you in a tunnel.
I don't know why. I was like, I have full connection and everything. I was like, I don't know. But either way, the PS5 is not going to be anything that's going to last significantly long term. That's just being honest. The way that it's been built, everything that they have going into it, it's not a long-term solution. It's something just so that's the way they say they can have a console coming out this year because they don't want to lose market share. They don't want to come out a year later or anything compared to Xbox like they did with the PS3 era. Despite the fact that they were able to catch up, it took them the entire generation to catch up to the sales that the 360 had. And that was them coming out a year later. Right now, they're riding high off the coattails of the PS4 and the success that they had this generation to even take a chance at falling behind by launching a year later, which honestly would probably do them better because of the fact that, one, they already don't have the production numbers to keep up with the demand that the PS5 is showing, and now you're also going to turn around and have potentially a lot of issues with defects and a lot of malfunctions with that console. It's not right. And then with everything that we're seeing right now about the capabilities, the fact that why have you known for months that you guys aren't going to have an SSD approved yet, or you're not going to have the expansion bay activated yet? That's a software lock. They have the hardware ready for it. They're just putting out a software lock because they said that they'll unlock it later with a patch. That means that it's completely a firmware issue that's preventing that SSD from being activated until they deem it ready. We've seen that with a lot of hardware before, is that it has everything that it needs, but it's software locked until either a software update or a firmware patch that'll allow it to be used. And then the fact that they are not even allowing external hard drives to act as cold storage for PS5 games is also just a bad look, because the fact that now you're limiting people to 664 gigs of usable storage, and that's for PS5 only games. Their externals are only for PS4. And then you look at some of these next gen versions of these games, they're massive. Look at Call of Duty Black Ops, Cold War alone, 250 gigs for one game. So if you take that out of 664, you're leaving people with just
you are having your shit is just okay. Don't talk again. Say something again.
Yes, I'm talking.
Okay, so you sound okay. It's funny because people in the chat are saying you sound like you sound like somebody from the Republic on Star Wars talking through one of those masks, and then you evolve.
Yeah, stormtrooper. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, you sound like a stormtrooper. Then now it's changing into something else. Your mic is having it's having I don't know how to say it. A manifestation. It is evolving like a Dragon Ball Z character. That's crazy. Okay, so go ahead and finish up, man, because the mic shit is crazy. But go ahead, finish.
Yeah, but as I was saying, it's just the fact of you look at everything that they're doing. This console is just completely. It's such an afterthought. It's not even funny. From every solution that they've done has been treated as just a quick solution, nothing long term. And like I said, their storage, them not having SSD or allowing a hard drive to be utilized as cold storage is such a bad thing because the fact that again, there's not.
Yeah, going in. I can't. I'm sorry, Bloody. Hold on.
The chat is clouded. Hey, what's called says, hey, Bloody, I'll take a combo number 5 super size. Oh, shit. All right, man. Hurry up and make your last point, bro, so you can fix your mic so I can go to Slayer, man. Go ahead, hurry up and get it done. Because that mic shit is getting what? What?
I don't know what's going on,
bro. It is really tripping down.
Selectable. Now it's just.
All right, just unplug and fix it. Come back. If you got something else to say on that, then I'll let you finish up after I go to after I get what's called. But
I'll try leaving and coming back.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Cause damn, I was gonna try to go to Op and try to get what he was gonna say after. But, whatever. That's just how it is. My bad, Op. Okay, Slayer, your turn.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. Let me read this before I forget, because there was one more. There was one more super chat. Sorry about that. Okay, Dragonheart Yobi said also some YouTubers said the Series X got the black screen of death, but failed to mention he broke the embargo. So Xbox bricked his console. Oh,
yeah, he was and then wants to pretend like
I didn't know that. That's
the Xbox all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't even know none of that. That's when the lights was off. That's when the ice storm hit my ass. I didn't know any of that. Wow, great information. Okay, so go ahead, Slayer.
All right. Two things real quick. First off, on behalf of the chat,
you don't have to be quick. Ain't nobody being quick tonight. Everybody's had their moment tonight. There can't be no complaining. Nobody had their time.
This is on behalf of the chat because we're asking about a game that was in your footage with the sword.
Because
now that look dope.
Because we only got one more. We only got one more topic, and I'm gonna make sure that it's gonna be quick. So we can get through it and then get on. Because you know what I'm saying. So go ahead, but go ahead. Take your time.
You have a game on the screen with a dude with a sword doing all types of stuff. It was mad colorful. What game is that? Folks is asking. Now I'm interested too.
What
game is that? A couple minutes ago was a dude with a sword, all types of wild weapons. He had one. It was like a crank, and it was all types of colors. And folks is asking about the game. Now it got me interested too. What game was that?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Right
to
after
it.
Ace Combat. It's in your footage.
Okay, right after Ace Combat. Okay, I don't know. That most likely probably was Shadow Warrior 3 that's coming out.
Oh, okay, yeah, that must have been that. All right.
It was in first person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Shadow Warrior 3. Yeah, that's coming out. Yeah, that game's gonna look good.
And secondly, whose Ace Combat footage was that? Because it's like dude is trying to be Maverick or Iceman, but he's flying like Goose, and Goose is dead.
Oh wow. Damn. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I'm just saying, bro. Yo, a little pro tip: when you're trying to turn and burn, you use the gas and the brake at the same time, but you better watch your speed, because if you drop too much, then you stall. So that'll give you the the turn and burn you need to be able to lock on dudes. Pro tip. Anyway, let's get into this. Yo, okay, PK, you should remember as a PC dude. Do you remember around the time when God of War came out on PS4, and all the rumors were saying that the PlayStation hardware is going to be based on some graphic technology called Navi, and Sony and AMD working together on that? Do you remember that a couple years back?
Vaguely.
All right, so there was a lot of talk about that. So now we know Navi is the version of AMD's hardware without the ray tracing hardware, right? And then we have Big Navi
on it.
I think you said speak on it.
Right. Oh, thank you. So Xbox is Big Navi. We know it's got that real hardware ray tracing. So think back when Sony first announced not specifics, but certain things they were alluding to about the PlayStation 5. And one of those things was ray tracing. They didn't say hardware ray tracing. Microsoft did at the VGAs when they announced, the Series X with that, surprise announcement. They said hardware ray tracing. And that was one of the other reasons why everybody went, what? Because PCs just got that and it was super expensive. Don't forget this. So this is why I'm on team 2019 for the PS5. The PlayStation 5 was supposed to be back in 2019, I feel, because of things like that. It wasn't supposed to have no ray tracing hardware. Don't forget about all that information on GitHub. Okay, when they were saying, they had their chips, it was Oberon and Ariel. I forget which was first, but we knew about the 9.2 teraflops long before Mark Cerny said. We knew about that. There ain't nothing wrong with those chips as designed. There's nothing wrong with their SoCs as designed. Remember, this is TSMC's 7-nanometer process. Their yield rate is like 95%. Those chips don't fail when they produce them. What happened is they overclocking the hell out of these chips. It's like putting a turbo on a car that can't rock it and is blowing up the engines, and they're blowing up a lot of engines. Some engines can survive. Most, or maybe, let's say half, who knows what the number is, don't. They didn't wait like Microsoft waited. Microsoft specifically has said they waited. We know about this more recently. They've made this very clear after AMD, finally, showed off their graphic card and were able to speak, more off cuff and not have to hide certain things. Xbox Series X is RDNA 2. PS5 is RDNA 1. It doesn't have any of the technical features, no matter what fanboy says. This is what it is. The PlayStation 5 doesn't have these things. So what they did to try to close the gap was they rocking these chips at a higher clock rate, okay? And the GitHub leaks back that up. The size of the PlayStation backs that up. The fact that they don't use a vapor chamber. Remember when he was taking apart the systems, and dude was speaking in Japanese, but there was subtitles in that YouTube video. You click on that little icon that says CT, says CC, you get them closed captions. He said it's like a vapor chamber. Well, why didn't you just use a vapor chamber? Why? Because they spend all this money on liquid metal, on a giant heat sink, on the fact that they burnt so many chips out. So Bloomberg was right. They did have problems. They are having problems. That's why they don't have as many systems available. That's why it was so hard to get. And Walmart messing them up screwed them up. There are so many reasons I can go real deep into the weeds with this, but suffice to say, the PlayStation 5 was supposed to be at a certain level, and when they finally heard what the Xbox was about, they freaked out, and understandably so. And that's what happened. So, like the SSD alone, all this talk about it should be faster, but when push comes to shove, when these outlets are benchmarking it, GameSpot and what have you, the Xbox is still faster at loading at all of them. Every example, it boots up faster, it shuts down faster, it launches a game faster, it loads a game faster on supposedly slower SSD tech, right? And the processor is only like 100 megahertz slower than the CPU that's in the Xbox, so it can't be that. Because we know they got their whole cracking hardware, decompression, all that other stuff. It's not on the CPU to decompress that stuff, and the GPU can just access that data without the CPU to put it into the RAM, just like the Xbox can, because that was in RDNA 1 to a certain extent. It's not to the level of what's in the Xbox. That's why it's also a part of the Xbox Velocity architecture. You see, the whole thing was made in thought and care for all these aspects. It was they took the time to cook it properly. They didn't just what you say, fry it hard and just put crap out there. They made a system that. What the hell is all of that? What is that in the background?
That's lemon.
Oh my God!
No, it's not lemon. It's lemon.
Bro, I'm on a roll here and you messed me up. So you got
Where are you coming from? Where you talking from? Because I can hear my voice and everything. You coming from fix that man, damn. You and Bloody tonight. Bloody was all right.
I'm on my cell phone. I got you on speakerphone. I'm trying to go to my earphone so I can just put my phone to my ear. My bad. I'm sorry.
You good? You good? You can't. You hopped in like we got one more person to say something, and then we got this last topic. So you came in just in time for the last topipic, and then we get out of here.
We are GRG.
No, we are GRG. We are GRG with limits now. Hey, y'all suckers sold me. Y'all wanted to start at 7, and y'all wanted to end around 9.
No. Son, you right. But I told you, that video, I've been running all day.
Me too.
I got a lot of things popping next week,
bro.
And a lot of things hit me today.
I got some things I want to announce too at the end of the show. So I want to get to it too. So hell, finish up, Slayer, so we can get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing folks in the chat talking some garbage. Yo, try hard fan. Ray tracing is nah. It's because the PlayStation don't have it. I know you cap for PlayStation hard, but if PlayStation had that, you would be saying differently. So just slow your roll.
Uh-oh.
Okay, grown folks are speaking.
Oh, right, Lord Jesus.
Listen, when we talk about this SSD, a drive that's supposed to be twice as fast is losing.
Hey, Lemon, we're getting crazy feedback.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna mute myself. My bad. I'm sorry.
All right, you good. All right.
On a drive that's supposed to be twice as fast is losing every benchmark on hardware that's supposed. Why is that? I think it only could do these high speeds in bursts because, like I said earlier on, the PlayStation 5 was probably supposed to come out last year, and PCs are only getting this tech this year. And PK was the one who put me up on it. The Samsung drive isn't even all that great. It really isn't. So how the hell was Sony gonna get it right if Samsung didn't get it right? And this is for the PC stuff. So no, I really think in all aspects, the PlayStation 5 just ain't up to snuff. Even this so-called SSD, the one thing that had was better, it's not better. I mean, the facts are out there. The numbers are out there. People have this hardware in hand, and this is what they're saying. The thing literally looks like a giant a room heater. And yeah, it's quiet, but you see how big that thing is? Liquid metal and all that stuff, but you don't just use a vapor chamber because you have to spend all your money on the SSD that apparently doesn't even earn its keep. This system, everything about Sony, I'll put it to you like this. When they finally show, goddamn phone, every E3 with Sony, particularly this one, right? They always have, announcement, they show off this. And meanwhile, if you're a real gamer, you're watching on Twitter and forums and stuff because they'll say this stuff and then you find the real facts on Twitter or forums where Wario64 will say, they try to pretend, XYZ game is exclusive. No, it's multi-plat. And hey, the Xbox actually has the exclusive on that, and they're getting content that PlayStation had, isn't supposed to have. But they don't mention that when they talk about it. Nobody says that. And if you notice, that's what happened the same day they showed off the prices of the PlayStation. That whole show. Okay, me and Lemon was streaming that the whole time. I thought it was a great show until after the fact. But all along, I'm seeing all this stuff. But after the fact, come to find the real truth about what's really going on. Most of those games are multi-plat. A lot of those games weren't exclusive in terms of content, none of that stuff. Most of those games are on the PS4. You don't need a PS5 to play those games. If you have a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, there ain't no real reason to get a PS5. There are countless other things like that that's going on. But today, this one day today, how many facts that are coming out because there's no NDA anymore? NDA is over with now with these guys who got the hardware, right? We're seeing you can't offload your game to an external hard drive. Why? Who the hell knows? You would have thought that would have been basic. You know, the controller, yeah, it's got that DualSense thing, but if you actually use it, it brings the battery life down to 2 hours. You know, all these countless things we've learned today. Sony fucked up royally. That's what it is. They fucked up royally, and Microsoft didn't. Microsoft learned their lessons, and Sony didn't learn nothing. And remember, I'll leave you with this one thing. Who was the dude from on PlayStation? He's in charge of their indies now. Yoshida. With the PS4. Remember what he said when the PS4 was first blowing up? They didn't know why it was blowing up. Really? All the gamers know. No matter what system you cap for, we all knew why the PlayStation 4 was blowing up, and you didn't know. That means you didn't learn no lessons. And now we see the PlayStation 5. Meanwhile, Xbox was learning. The first step they did, they got rid of Matrix. They put a real gamer in charge. Okay? They put real people in charge who actually love gaming. Like the original Xbox and the 360. All this other stuff that's going on, come on, man. Come on. Like, there's nothing there's nothing to hide behind anymore. Every aspect of what Sony is doing is straight garbage. And I want one eventually. But you know what? I'm concerned about this heating and the liquid metal. I think I'm just going to wait till TSMC has a 5-nanometer process, which Apple is already using, and they do a die shrink of the PlayStation 5. I think I'm going to have to wait for that. Because really, I have zero confidence in that system. Zero.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Lord have mercy. All right. Okay, so boy Jazzy Noof came in here and he broke it down. He said Navi 1 is the 5000 series card, Navi 2, the big Navi, is the high-end card, and this is why the 6000 series is on Xbox. The PlayStation 5 is missing features, so is like Navi 1.5-ish.
It's not even 1.5. It's straight 1.0. They ain't a single thing that's different.
Yeah, he said the SSD may be fast, but the memory bandwidth has to be there to load quickly. Xbox has a higher bandwidth to load in memory faster. Not to mention the latency potentially introduced with the custom. The custom chip. And the custom chip they have. Let's see.
Yeah, Jazzy is dropping a lot of knowledge that I didn't want to, because I'd be on here for 6 hours saying all this stuff. Yep, this is all the facts, all facts.
I had something in front of everything. I don't know what popped up in his way. But I didn't. I know I missed a couple of words. I'm sorry about that, Jazzy. But anyway, all right. So legal. All right, so you can go ahead and take us home. You can take us home with this one, and then
I'll get my point.
Okay, well then you can get it, but you're gonna have to wait. You got a special guest.
Don't be stuttering, OKC dude. Don't do that,
bro. Listen. Hey, no. Check this out. This was tonight on GRG was probably the one time ever everybody had really long segments. Everybody.
No. I got one thing to say.
What?
Real quick. Before you get into our guests, I appreciate everybody for coming through. Let me say something to the record, man. When we talk about these numbers or these situations with Sony, that gives more credit to Microsoft because they was prepared. No external SSD support, no VR support. First of all, shout out to my man Megatron. I said, I ain't seen one article that Sony talked about 4K 120 ever. Did we ever see Sony talk about 4K 120? I'm just saying. Maybe I need a little bit of knowledge dropped on me. If anybody on this panel see Sony say we doing games at 4K 120? Has anybody seen that?
No, just up to 120.
Yeah, just
up. I
to
think that was for Dirt 5.
Exactly. Yep.
And Dirt 5 on PlayStation 5 will not be dynamic 4K or 4K from PlayStation. The system's not strong enough. But I'm just saying, I keep hearing it. Oh, this TV is PlayStation ready. It may do 120, but it won't be 4K.
Fact.
I'm just saying. I'm done.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up.
All right. Well,
I really wanted to bring that up.
Oh no. That's a great point. So we got our last topic, but then I'm gonna let Legal finish us off on this whole situation with the whole issue with Sony's feature issues, man. What's going on, man?
Shout outs to the last guy, man. What's his name, bro?
Six Layer. I know. Yeah.
My man, he was in my comment section, but I gotta say this, man. God damn, bro, I'm not used to sitting around waiting. But that dude murdered it, man. He murdered it, and he's a student of the game. I have to give you your respect, brother, because you killed it, man. Now, on top of that murder that he just did, that massacre, there's a guy that's got to come up and clean up the bodies. So this is what I'm about to do.
The cleaner, yes.
I'm about to clean up his mess, man. All right. There's steps to this. Nobody is moving until AMD gets their shit together. Now, you know when legal starts cussing, god dang it, man. Shit's about to go down. AMD is the driver, right? Without AMD, we don't have these fucking consoles. So let's start right there. My man was touching on it. The first phase was going to be Polaris and Vega. They were. You got to understand something. The visions, right? They're trying to come up with the future plans. This ain't some shit that they're just throwing together. Let's see what we can do. No, this is future fucking tech plan shit. They're gonna go in with some things, and things that don't work, they're gonna scrap it. All right. Like my man PK said, these companies they don't just drop these consoles as soon as we see them. There's phases to it. They go in with their visions. They start messing around with this stuff. They build dev kits. They let devs work on these things, and then they finally get it assessed, and they start building it up, and then we finally see the stuff, right? Now, with that, we're waiting on AMD to get their shit together. They're moving with their graphic chip. We haven't even got the graphic cards. They're moving with their chip. They're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. So when they finally get this situation done with Microsoft, like they're not telling you this shit. You gotta use your common sense, right? Once they found a medium ground, because like I was saying, price matters. I've been saying this shit before it even happened. 5 years ago, I said, watch the curse of the PlayStation 3. Craig Mega, you heard me say this shit.
Oh, yeah.
The curse of the PlayStation 3 is upon PlayStation's ass.
Yes.
Everybody wants to laugh. Everybody wants to shut up, legal. You don't know what you're talking about. All right, I'm going to take my chicken noodle soup. I'm going to sip on this hot, nice soup till 5 years later when this shit smacks you all in y'all faces. Then I'm going to come back out and be like, where y'all at? That's where me and my man Slayer is at. Where y'all at? Because it's not like nobody really knew this shit was going to happen. If you was really reading and staying on top of the shit, you knew this was going to happen because you saw it. Sony had to wait on AMD to get their shit together so that they could pay for it. Understand, Sony is not integrating shit. They have to buy it. So once that 2019 plan, because you got to remember, the chip, the situation wasn't even going to drop until the fall of 2019. So how the fuck can a console come out when the damn chip ain't even out yet? Tell me, how the fuck does that make any sense? So the console wasn't going to come out in 2019. That's the first. That's the very first. That's when you're making the cake. Fuck it, you got the batter over here. You can't even make the cake without the fucking batter. The chip wasn't even supposed to come out to 2019, the fall. You can read up on this shit. So the console wasn't even coming out. That situation was dead. So it was easy to predict either 2020, 2021, or 2022. My prediction was 2021 or 2022. It had to have been. Because once that shit changed up, you read about it. The reason why it changed up was because Polaris and Vega was not powerful enough to push forth the future where we're going to. So AMD scrapped that. They scrapped the name Navi. They hit it, the 7 nanometer terminology. They scrapped it, and they started calling it the RDNA. Once they did that, they was like, nah, RDNA 1 is not good enough. RDNA 2 hit. Okay, there we go. When RDNA 2 hit, now you're getting rumors of Microsoft is coming out. They're talking. We got our. You heard Phil Spencer say, "I'm playing on my damn Xbox Series X already." He said that shit in 2019. So we was like, wait a minute, how the fuck is Phil playing on a console already? Damn, they already got this shit done. Like my man PK was saying, They already got this stuff done. Of course they do. But we didn't hear from Sony for 2.5 years, people. Let's not forget that. Sony went in exile for 2.5 years. There's a reason. Because they had to get back in line. They don't make a move until this shit is finished. So when Microsoft and AMD got all their shit together, they started building this chip. Remind you, I didn't hear anybody say anything about this co-engineer. They co-engineered it. So this is what took the price down, and this is what made it affordable for the Xbox Series S to be created, but it can keep its capabilities high for next generation, because that console right there is the actual true partnership of AMD. The Xbox Series X is where AMD makes their $100 off of. Got to understand how this works. AMD is going to get their $100. That chip is $100. The X is how Microsoft pays back the AMD situation, and the S is what's going to do it. So the S is what, $100 cheaper. It's a freebie. Microsoft basically gave the industry a freebie. Now, on top of that, they were able to make 2 distinctive consoles. Does Sony have 2 distinctive consoles? No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They got a discless console, and they have one that's a 4K Blu-ray driver. Now, watch this. Now, this is the capabilities for the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 5 will certainly be a step up from current gen consoles. Specs include a NVMe SSD for super fast load times, ray tracing support, and a built-in 4K Blu-ray player, and backwards compatibility with thousands of titles in the PS4 game library. That was noted 3 days ago. They are still posting this bunch of lying bullshit. We know that the PlayStation 4 cannot do 1,000 backward compatibility or nothing. We know that being on top, certainly a step up on the current gen consoles is not having a fucking 4K Blu-ray player. We already have that. Now, the one thing that they do have that's pushing the envelope is the NVMe SSD, the super fast load times. Now they have that. That's your fucking specs. That's the specs. That's the selling point of the PlayStation 5. Now, let's stop acting like the PlayStation 5 doesn't operate cheaply. Since the PlayStation 3, the Sony has been putting in cheap ass parts. Their fans don't fucking work. Their fucking console overheats. And we're not talking about issues. We're talking about just that's the way they do things. PlayStation 4, loud as fuck. You turn on your PlayStation 4 and you hear stewardess, please buckle your safety belts.
Oh.
You know, you turn that motherfucker on and you think you're actually taking a trip somewhere. So let's stop playing around. Let's keep it real. The Sony is always invested in cheap shit. The reason why is to keep the cost down. They always benefit, and I've been saying this. Sony benefits as long as the technology stays the same. The minute the technology changes is where Sony fucks up at. That's why the PlayStation 3 was a fuck up, because the technology changed. PlayStation 4 benefited because the technology stayed the same. This is how Slayer killed it. But watch this. The technology Slayer is changing once again. So who is it benefiting? Microsoft.
Exactly.
This time, Microsoft is the big dog, because you got to understand why Microsoft was missing in action in the first damn place. They were going through antitrust laws. So while Microsoft was defeating every fucking government, which they did, they slayed them from 2002 till about 2017 or 2015. Everybody else got a chance to play. But when Microsoft came back on the scene as like the king of New York, they was like, y'all been eating and getting real fat while I've been gone. Well, damn, I'm back now, and it's time to reclaim the throne. Not console-wise, video game-wise, tech-wise.
Tech-wise,
and what they did, that's right. And what they did with AMD was, AMD can't move forward. Now, watch how my man Slayer mentioned ray tracing.
Okay,
well,
well, let me make this point. Let me make this point too, because if you really think about it, AMD and Microsoft has kind of been in same
for the cahoots. It's 360.
Well, they've been in cahoots, but it's kind of been they've been placed in the same kind of area. Like it's just like when everybody, just like with the whole RDX, the 3000 series chip cards, right? Everybody's like, oh shit, hey, it's over, it's over. Right. You know what I'm saying? AMD, you're done. Intel, you're out of here. It's over. And then AMD came out with their cards. And then they were like, holy shit, how could they do this? And then put, and then put NVIDIA on notice. It is the same type of way that Xbox has done with the, when you look at the regards of the Xbox One, which if you look at the me now kind of getting into the PC realm. So excuse me, PK, and I don't know about you, Fuzzy. I don't know if you were in the PC realm as well.
A little.
Yeah, a little, but I'm getting into now. But AMD was kind of like that Xbox One stepchild. You know what I'm saying? While Intel and everything else was doing better, then all of a sudden AMD said, you know what? We're gonna pick our shit up. We're gonna get better with what we're doing. And then you kind of look and you see Xbox, and that's the word I found, synonymous. Xbox and AMD is like synonymous right now. Like they're totally legit with what their technologies are. Hold on, let me read this and I'll let you go ahead and finish, and then we'll get to our last topic, and then we got to be quick with it because we got to get out of here. But I got it, Jazzy Noop. I'm sorry, brother, but I see it now. He said, not to mention the latency potentially introduced with the custom decryption chip they have, and so and I guess the chip that he's talking about is the Kraken chip. So yeah, that's where it says that Kraken chip. So the point that I was reading, I couldn't see all of it at first, and I kind of missed some of the words that he was saying. But there he goes. All right, so go ahead, Legal.
Okay, you made a point about the Intel and all that. That's right.
Yeah.
Intel would always make would beat AMD with the price.
Yeah.
But the reason why AMD now is on top of things is because they were able to outsmart them by making tiers. So they made the low end, the mid grade, and the high end, and from that point on, AMD's been killing it. Now, back to what I was saying. So now you have a situation that is brewing up. And you're getting all these features being implemented, right? You're getting everything prepared. Like my man Slayer was saying, ray tracing. There's a difference. Fucking Microsoft's been had ray tracing. They've been dealing with it for about 25 years. Their own DRX, man. They've been dealing with, NVIDIA's been dealing with that because NVIDIA took on that technology. With Microsoft. Microsoft was able to let them borrow it. They've been dealing with this stuff in movies, but this is the first time they've been able to put it into video games. Microsoft has their own, that's the key, own ray tracing. This is why Sony wouldn't have what they have because they're not getting it. DirectX ray tracing is exclusive to the infrastructure capabilities of Microsoft. You can't just put it on anything. That's why it has to be custom made. And that's why NVIDIA and AMD could adopt it because they're moving it into what? The PC world. Where does Microsoft originally reside in? The PC community. It has more money-making capabilities in the PC realm, in the software realm, than it does in the console world. So it only makes sense to deal with both entities. Now that I got that out the way, you can clearly see why the architectures are different. Sony basically knew they didn't have the software power. What's his name? Kojima? He said it. Moving forward, the cloud poses a threat to us. He didn't say hardware, software. He said the cloud poses a threat.
Or Yoshida.
Yoshida. There you go. Yoshida. Yeah. He directly said that because that's where everything is going, people. You can't see it right now, but that's where it's going. Now, why would he say something like that? Because the Azure cloud can make virtual GPUs. This is the purpose of the true power. The offset is not determined by hardware with the Xbox consoles. So this is why they can make a 12 teraflop Xbox and it can just stabilize itself. And it's not like my man's saying, it's not overclocked. It's not even stressing it. They were able to hit Gears of War 5 at 100 frames per second at Ultra 4K off raw power, no features, just raw power. The PlayStation, the direction, the vision of Sony, they went strictly raw power. They didn't do software features for it. So like my man was saying, when they did that 10 teraflop, that's all raw power. So the operating system has to be done. Takes away another teraflop. So now that's 9. You get what I'm saying? It's really 8 something because they pushing, they're overclocking it to boost it over to get it closer to 10. And they already admitted it that these games won't be running that high. They can't run these games that high. When you overclock the consoles, it's gonna make them hot. It's gonna make it hot. You're gonna put stress on the internal components. It's like having a fever, K Mega, in my panel. It's like having a fever. When you have a fever, are you outside playing, doing activities? No, you're not gonna run your body hotter. You're gonna lay down. You're gonna drink cool fluids. You're trying to cool off. You want to break that fever and get your temperature back to normal. That's
well,
the effect.
You can make a hot toddy though. You can't do that.
Yes, you can. Well, because you're gonna break your fever, right? You can do it that way. Yep, you can actually put blankets all over if you want to and break the fever.
Yeah, sweat it out.
Sweat it out.
But that PlayStation can't sweat it out though.
No, because and like my man Slayer was saying, the overclocking, what it does is it limits the lifespan when pushed aggressively, or it burns your internal organs up, metaphorically. So they're trying to find a medium, and I think now people that they found the medium, and they realize, man, damn it, we're gonna run this console kind of lower now. Let's be truthful. These games are not gonna look whack, okay? These games aren't gonna look garbage, okay? But these games aren't gonna be spectacular. They're not gonna be mind blowing because, like Slayer said, these games on the PlayStation are not gonna be. They're not true next generational gaming or game quality games. They're good, but they're not to that point. And the RDNA 2 that they're using isn't the same use as the RDNA 2 that Microsoft is using. The RDNA 2 infrastructure that Microsoft is using is future proof. It's actually it's going to transform into the Zen 3 capabilities. Go ahead, Slayer.
Okay, I just got one thing I want to say real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a point I made yesterday and earlier over the weekend, and folks didn't notice this. Okay, NVIDIA and AMD both have these cards that do ray tracing. NVIDIA's got 2 generations of it, and AMD is on their first, right? Like I said, there was Navi, Big Navi, right? These cards work in Windows, but they also work in Linux day one, right? These cards work in Linux, open source software. PS4 runs on FreeBSD. They use OpenGL, OpenGL and Vulkan, and so does Nintendo. But they have a variant, and PlayStation is also a variant of OpenGL and Vulkan, right? That hardware works on those APIs that are non-Windows APIs, and you still get the ray trace and everything that the hardware is capable of. So even then, Sony could have implemented hardware ray tracing and everything else if they had it. They just don't have it. It's not Big Navi. It's Navi. Facts. They're doing ray tracing like you do ray tracing on a 1080 Ti. It's basically software. That's why when you look at Spider-Man, they have to cut the ray tracing off for certain things for optimization to keep the game to actually run. It has no ray tracing hardware. It's not even RDNA 1.5. It's just straight RDNA
let this dude
1.
close it out, man. He's killing it, bro.
That's it. So all right, that's all I had to say. No, he said he was done.
No, I was done.
Yeah, but so we're done. So we're gonna be done with this topic. But I do want to say this because I do want to finish this up. I got some super chats to read, and then I also need to finish reading what my boy Jazzy Noob said. Okay, so all right, one more thing to add to what you two guys are over here alluding to, and then everybody else on the panel pretty much. He said AMD had Smart Shift on the laptop. Its goal was to limit power output to reduce heat while boosting performance. The viability of the chip is not at convenient or consistent development performance since it changes so much. So again, like it's a lot of listen. Xbox did their homework. You know what I'm saying? To close this next to last topic out is they did their homework. they knew they looked and they read and did everything. And see, I didn't even know about the whole stuff that Legal was talking about with the whole the lawsuits. I've heard about a couple of the lawsuits, but I didn't know that in which also makes a lot of things of what what Phil also had. What makes Phil Spencer so special in the gaming space, regardless of just anything. It's just like how you look at Reggie from Nintendo. Reggie is special. You know what I'm saying? My main man from that was the Jack Trenton. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He was special. He was, so Jack Trenton was special for PlayStation. You know what I'm saying?
Peter Moore for Sega.
Yeah, Peter Moore for Sega. Those are special individuals. And to see, and so Phil Spencer, to go through all of these obstacles that he had to go through just to get extra, you know what I'm saying? Listen, it is incredible to think about how the Xbox One it got the most hate, it got the most scrutiny, most hate, whatever you want to say. It got labeled as the weakest console. They got labeled to having the worst games rating wise, and they still sold over 50 million of these those goddamn Xbox Ones. Still sold more of them. And
K-Mac is not lying, bro. 48 million just off of the ones. We're not even talking the S or the X.
Right. So
exactly.
so it's somewhere between 50 to 70 million. Easy. But regardless, it doesn't matter. You just have to think about this for a second. Games that hit, they hit. Forza, Halo 5, regardless of what you think about Halo 5 story or my main man, hashtag save lock, Halo 5 broke records. It broke records.
Hey, K-Mega, real quick, because you're killing it. K-Mega, remember that the Xbox One was actually a beta test console for the cloud.
They posted it out there in Europe. Like, look, this is a beta test. You know what I'm saying? For what we're trying to do to move forward. So overall, what I'm trying to say is that Phil Spencer needs to be placed in that special mark. I understand that the stands will go out there, oh, y'all worship Phil. No. It's not about that. It's just like what this man has done because anybody else that I think that would have been involved with Xbox at the time, Don Matrick, anybody else, Xbox would be gone. Xbox would be a part of somebody else right now. So that's the thing you have to look at and see what Phil has done, and then to see what they come out with this console, with this tech, and they gave you a glimpse of it with the Xbox One X. Lord have mercy, man. I mean, look, it's crazy. It's crazy. But all right, let me read these super chats, and then we're going to get to the last topic, and we're going to get the hell out of here. All right, Dragonheart Yobi. Microsoft learned $1 billion lesson with the 360 era. So they made sure to not go through hardware failure again. Absolutely right. They'll never have that heating issue again, like they did with the Red Ring of Death. And then
they did it with the OG Xbox. It looked like a VCR, but it was cooler, quieter, and used less power than the PS4.
It didn't matter at that time. It was ugly. It was a toaster oven. Now people are trying to make excuses for this big ass behemoth.
Right. In that time,
big ass damn console. Anyway, in Infernal Lock, he says this dude sounds like somebody from Futurama talking to my man New Legal. He said this man over here talking crazy. This man talking crazy, man.
Yo, I'm the creator for your ass. Get your ass in here.
Oh man, he you know what I'm saying, Infernal Lock, man. That's what I'm talking about. So okay, so let's get to the last topic, man. And this is about
Pebbles, man. Come on, man.
No. He wasn't clowning. He was just saying.
I know, man.
he said everything wise. Anyway, so okay, the Sega situation, right? So I want to kind of get a little bit out of Sega's arcade being sold to Genda, but and so I'm going to let you kick off on this, Slayer. But I really want to get into the rumor that just dropped before we started the show, which was talking about Xbox, the Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo are all in play to try to get Sega, because it looks like Sega is going to get acquired by somebody. Now remember, you know what I'm saying, Xbox got an event coming out here pretty soon. But to clarify this whole point, Sega told people that has been long standing with Sega just go ahead and retire. We'll give you a severance package because it looks like they're packing their shit up and they're ready to move somewhere. So, Slayer, go ahead and give us a little bit of that information about the selling.
650 employees. I just dropped a link in the chat for anybody who wants to read. So listen, I was talking before. Now I'm going to leave a lot of this up to my homies PK and Bloody, who likewise understand.
Well, Bloody left. Bloody left.
Oh, Bloody. Oh, yeah, right. I'm sorry, but PK is still the homie as well, who could he's got some knowledge and opinion on this as well.
Yeah,
that's very good on this. So I'm not going to take it all up, but earlier on in recent times, I was saying I doubted Sega because the rumored purchase that we're going to hear about was likely not Sega. They might do a partnership because they got that whole arcade thing. They basically run arcades in Japan. That got that biggest arcade in, what is it, Yokohama?
Yeah, you said that.
They have one in Yokohama, Tokyo.
You said that about a month or so ago when this whole when the rumor came up. Yeah, you did.
Exactly, and that's the problem. That was too many parts that Microsoft don't need from Sega, right? And plus, that whole division wasn't doing too well. So for Microsoft to buy Sega lock, stock, and barrel and didn't have to take on that part while it's losing, Microsoft is going to get a blame for some shit that was already dying on its own. They don't need that. They don't need that drama, right? But all of a sudden now, these problems don't exist anymore. Sega sold off that whole section. So we ain't got to worry about that. And then the cap right before the show, Nintendo, there's the article, I posted it, folks, 650 employees, top employees that they don't need. They need the developers. They need the people who make the games, okay? I've been dreaming about this for so freaking long. And I'm a retro gamer. I'm an enthusiast. Lemon always talks about me rocking MAME and all these things. We got emulators, and I told you about my.
All people got to do is just look at your avatar. You got the Saturn, the Sega Saturn on your shirt. Yeah.
Okay. Radiant Silvergun is on my Xbox One. It's on my 360, and it's gonna be on my Series X. Okay, that's a Saturn game. One of the most beautiful shmups. I hate that term. Shoot 'em ups. Thank you, because that term came out with the internet, but nobody said that term back in the day. But all the kids use that as the term for the genre. That's not the term for the genre. I know the dude Malcolm who started shmups.com. He made up that term. Okay. So anyway, but back to what I was saying. Like, they don't need these big execs. They don't need the arcade division. They need Sega. But what I'm saying is the dream and all these. Sega has so many properties they just sit on and do jack shit with. You saw Daytona USA that was on 360 and PlayStation 3? Okay, there was a dude who did an emulator. They hired this dude to redo the game in the emulator engine that he made, and that was the release that they put. And then they use it again to make the quote-unquote Daytona 3. It's just the same game in even higher res. I think 4K, and the arcade machine is basically a PC. When I talk about that Sinden Lycon with Techno Parrot on the emulator Techno Parrot, and I'm confusing our guest name because it's so similar, because I've been focused on that lately, waiting this Lycon. Sega has so many
you've been talking crazy about
Daytona 2.
Techno Parrot.
Daytona 2. You talk about Daytona USA, the most successful arcade game of all time. The amount of money that game made. Forget Tekken and Street Fighter 2 and all of that.
Watch your mouth, sucker.
And I love those games. No. I ain't got nothing negative to say about those games. But I'm talking about raw cash made. Sega made this cash. And look at Sega now. They have an abundance of titles, a back catalog they don't ever do nothing with. Now, Microsoft or Nintendo or Sony, it's most likely Microsoft in my opinion, because we've been hearing this rumor for a while and we was hoping it was Microsoft, right? But it could easily be Sony or Nintendo. And we've seen what M2 has done with, a lot of ports of, a lot of Sega's back catalog on the 3DS and the Switch and other things. They've done wonderful things with their 2D classics. They have a lot of 3D classics, modern classics, the new classic, okay? That's been there. So no matter who buys it, I'm most likely hoping it's Microsoft, but Sega has so much, and they could be great again via any one of these console manufacturers. And I'm hoping it's Microsoft, because Microsoft has the technical chops. They have people. Okay, they got a dude, Aaron Giles, the second dude to be in charge of the main team after Dr. Sal Maria left. Okay, the guy who started Main, who made emulation a big thing that helps the history of games to be preserved today. Okay, you can't go into the future if you don't remember your past. I think I'm saying the statement wrong, but you get the idea. Yo, this could be. We on the cusp of a major announcement. No matter who does it, I'm hoping it's Microsoft with their technical chops, and they got staff. Aaron Giles is probably the dude who's most responsible for the backwards compatibility that's on the Xbox today that allows 360 games to run on the Xbox One. They got staff, technology, knowledge. They have a care, a love for gaming. You see it in everything they do. They came out with a system that's ready to go feature-wise in all things. The software made, but we see the situation. Sony's don't got their software right. Nintendo hasn't released anything in ages. PK's been talking about they got nothing for the holiday season. Nothing. They probably holding up stuff for that Switch Pro this spring. That's probably what they're doing. And so, yo, this is about to be major no matter who buys it. But I'm hoping it's Microsoft because that's the best fit.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so Fuzzy, what do you think about this, man? Slayer. Go ahead, man.
No, he hit the nail on the head. I mean, I didn't even know about this until you had sent out the topics and things. I remember hearing, like I guess it was in the summer when they were talking about the whole server farm thing for the arcades and stuff. And I've been just seeing like tweets back and forth between Sega and Xbox, and I'm like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. They got the Shock Blue? The Sonic Blue controller. I'm like, man, when is this thing going to happen?
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize, as far as like the arcade kind of being like that boat anchor for, the acquisition type of thing, that being in the way. Now that's kind of, pushed aside and somebody else can take that over, it makes it so much easier. And then seeing the link that you sent as far as with the employees to take the early retirement type of thing. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm hoping it's Xbox. Everything that we've been seeing back and forth between the social media accounts, say it's Xbox. But whoever gets Sega and their IPs, I mean, just so many IPs, so many. I mean, they're bringing back Virtual Fighter as far as for competition and stuff like that. But I think that might be more leaning towards arcade. But that's still an IP that whoever acquires them is going to pick up. And I've been joking with people before. It's like, can you imagine something like Altered Beast just being reimagined in modern day, where it's almost like a cross between Underworld and the game itself, and just make that a new IP. I mean, there's so much potential in it, but yeah, I would love to see Xbox pick them up. I've been hoping for it for the past 2 years, I would say, with them going back and forth. So, fingers crossed we hear something like that come Monday or Tuesday next week.
No doubt. Yeah, great points. All right, so Legal, I'm gonna go to you. Let's keep it quick. You know what I'm saying? Little semi-quick, because I want to get to PK, and then I got a couple of announcements, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. But what do you think, man? I mean, is this the opportunity that I think? Oh, well, let me ask you this question too, and this is for all you guys, if y'all want to kind of cut in on this. I am, you know what I'm saying, I love Nintendo. I got love for Nintendo. I think every gamer who started back in that era always will have love for Nintendo. But I think it kind of goes with that pairing of what I said with AMD and Microsoft or Xbox, kind of like that same kind of relationship with people who love Sega loves Xbox. Now, I know not everybody, but it just seems like that Dreamcast era going into the Xbox era, it's kind of like they're almost synonymous. Would you agree with that, Legal? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, man. First of all, I just want to say good stuff to everybody, man, that's hitting on this, because he's right. It's new news to me, man.
Listen, this is the thing here about people don't understand about GRG. I understand that there's other bigger podcasts out there, but I will put up my panel, my crew, up to anybody else's panel when it comes to talking about tech, when it comes to talking about knowledge of gaming, when it comes to talking about just gaming in general, and just having fucking fun. I will put up GRG against any other podcast out there, because there's guys and women that's been a part of this podcast that has done their homework, that do their due diligence, that do the damn work. and they aren't. And this isn't just a fly-by-night podcast where people just say some random shit just to get views. There's some knowledgeable people that's been a part of this, and if you don't believe it, go check other podcasts and see who's been a part of GRG that's on other podcasts that you may love. Go check it out. Real talk. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, man, we're very passionate, and like you said, passion. It's not about popularity, man. It's just the passion, and this panel has showcased that tonight. But on the Sega thing, I'm starting to find out that it's not even about the video game, so that is a good thing. So there might be a situation where the gaming section of Sega could actually be bought. But what I'm hearing is the services that have been acquired have to do with the services of collaborated cafes, restaurants, fast foods, and some arcades and more. So I think because of that arcade scenario getting bought, K Mega in the panel is why this really made news. But I believe that this thing with the company holding 85% of the shares of Sega Entertainment is coming from those entities right there. From what I'm reading, it's not even affecting it says right here as a note of clarification that it will not have to drastically affect the video game branch of the company of Sega. So I guess from what's going on, they buying some of the arcades out of Japan, but the overall video game aspects of Sega, I guess it's still on the table, which would be a good thing, right? It leads up to rumors. So I mean, I guess Sega still can be Sega games can still be up for grabs for anybody. From what I'm hearing, it's open game.
Yeah, no, great point. All right, PK.
Hashtag make Sega great again.
Make Sega. Hashtag make Sega great again.
That was not mine. That was Christina. That was Christina. But so true.
All right, so PK, to close us out, let me go ahead and read the super chat. Infernal Lock, he said Felix the Cat, nice, but he says better than Claudefield in my opinion. Who's Claudefield? Who's Claudefield the cat?
I don't know, but he meant Garfield probably.
That's what I was like. Yeah, I was like, I was like,
yeah, Felix the Cat is legendary, bro.
Yeah, Felix the Cat is legendary, but I was like, Garfield. Yeah, he meant Garfield. And listen, I don't know too much about Felix the Cat. I have seen a couple of cartoons with it, but I think that's where y'all all wrong. The ultimate cat is Tom. You know what I'm saying? It's Tom.
Yeah, Tom and Jerry.
Hold on. And the second top dog cat out there, you know what I'm saying? Is Heathcliff. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Heathcliff giving me a smoke, bro.
Heathcliff is a thug. Y'all can't fuck with Heathcliff. So you know what I'm saying? So Tom is number one and Heathcliff number two. And Felix the Cat, I got love and respect for Felix the Cat. He was one of the originators, but you know what I'm saying? No, you can't talk. Garfield's lazy, fat. He like me now. You know what I'm saying? Garfield, you know what I'm saying? Heathcliff was what I was when I was in my 20s and early, you know what I'm saying? My teens and 20s. I'm Garfield now. Matter of fact, can't wait. I'm hungry. I'm about to go get me something to eat. You know what I'm saying? But all right. So let me finish this. I got one more. Oh my goodness, my main man, the friendly neighborhood blue shell. He says, as long as Sega is not acquired by Amazon, Google, or Sony, I am fine. You know what? I got a theory on this, and I want to see if PK is gonna pick up on it. But if not, then I'll say it, and then it is what it is. So PK, what do you think about all this, man? I mean, what is your main thoughts? You think that this rumor seems like it's pretty legit, and especially now since Sega's sold their arcade, which seems like to be one of those things that was set back. I know that my boy Jazzy Noof, he says Sony doesn't have the cash, but if there was government help, maybe Sony. But for Xbox to do it, the deal is probably have to be made with the government. So what do you think? What do you think about all of this? Taking all this information in. Really? I got you.
Sorry, I was muted. So first, I want to say that there's no help from the government. Sony moved to America. Okay, simple. They're not getting no help from Japan. The second thing is I want to acknowledge what he said. One of the super chats. I don't think Amazon will have any room because they don't have a relationship with Sega. only Japanese are more sociable, so they look for people to have relationship with, and they only have relationships with two big manufacturers slash publishers, and that's Nintendo and Microsoft, not Sony, because they still got bad blood with Sony for what happened between them and Sega Saturn days. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great point.
but the far as the selling the arcade section, that's just a subsidiary, and it was only hurting because of the pandemic. I mean, think about it. Think about what Disney had to go through, right? It's kind of the same after effect, but they just don't have the money that Disney have. But it's that kind of impact. So it just they lost a lot of money. It just made more sense, and they are doing cutbacks. A lot of the big big heads are getting their. They do this in Japan, where actually the execs take a pay cut. It might not happen in America, but they definitely do it in Japan. Um, but far as it, and what I'm saying is it's a subsidiary, so that means they have other subsidiaries within the company. Sega's not just one company; it's Sega Sammy, right? So it's a portion. It doesn't make the whole thing up. And yes, that is a roadblock for it to be purchased because it has many subsidiaries. And when you make an acquirement such as large as Sega, you have to think about, does that align with your business model? And if they're doing pachinko machines, etc., that doesn't align with anybody, right? That's gambling, which is a whole different business model. Um, I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure where that puts them. What does that look like? Um, it does put them in a more vulnerable state, right? They still own a percentage, I think it's 14% within Genjin to still retain something or maybe a present vote, not me a controlling decision making, but present. So it's not like they got wiped off the planet, right? Just because they sold this portion. I would say we're all hopeful for Microsoft to come in and save the day and bring Sega aboard, only because we know that they would continue to operate as they would, but they will have the funding they need for the video games side to put out more games. I mean, let's face it, Sega owns Atlas, the same people who make Persona, which is huge. That prints money. Whenever there's a Persona game, that prints money. So it's not like they can't. They're not losing in a sense of games because they're just not putting. They don't have the budget, right? They just do small games here and there. But it would be great if they come on the. They already have a great relationship with Microsoft, so it would make sense. But honestly, I still think they have a lot of debt and loose ends to kind of. You get what I'm saying? I said this before. Whenever there's a requirement, you have to justify this by saying you can recoup the money in 5 years. So if Sega is in a position where they have a lot of toxic debt and they can't recoup the money or can't forecast it or get that potential on earned income back, it wouldn't make sense to move forward with that. And then they also got to be wanting to be acquired at the same time. That's another thing, right? Sony, I think Sega's worth 34 to 40 billion as a whole, and Sony's only worth 90. I don't think they can buy Sega. I don't think they have the capital to buy a company that's almost on the same level as they are. Just kind of throwing it out there. Yeah. Can Amazon do it? Yes. Can Google do it? Yes. But they don't have relationships with those guys. So I just don't see that happening. And I'm not sure if they will get acquired anytime soon because I still think they have a lot of restructuring to do before they could think about what looks best for them. So I think it'd be great, but we should also back up and look at it at a high level.
No doubt. No doubt, no doubt. I think it's I think personally, and listen, everybody's points are valid and they're right, and I enjoy it. But there's another thing too that I think that might be in play, and that could be that they could be separating. If Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox has a part, but now what PK said actually made a lot of sense too, because I mean that relationship between Sega and PlayStation was rough. It's just kind of like with PlayStation and Nintendo, that shit is not legit. It's still not right. So I could see Atlas going to Sony. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Because Persona is their kind of niche, and those type of games go out there. And I could see Nintendo getting, the Sonic franchise, getting the Xenosaga franchise, couple of things like that, while Xbox gets the other good stuff, like
But you're talking about selling. You're talking about selling IPs.
Well,
I don't think they'll.
I mean,
I don't think they'll do
well,
that.
maybe not like our IPs, but the studios the devs themselves, the studios. Like Atlas could go to PlayStation. Like I mean, I know that who all makes. I know Platinum made Bayonetta, but didn't somebody else make Bayonetta as well?
No, they hired them as a contractor.
Okay,
But
so yeah, but though that IP could stay with could go with Nintendo because Nintendo has got that exclusive already, and then you got like the stuff that they do with Sonic and all that. But overall, this is what makes this even more interesting to me. That and this is what's make it more solidified that it's Xbox. It's because Phil wouldn't give a shit about Persona going to PlayStation or Nintendo or Sonic going over there to Nintendo for those Wii Sports games and all that other shit, just like everything else. Like that's why, and then also with game, and then just the whole weird thing about Streets of Rage 4 going to Game Pass like it did. Like that was just random and out the blue, and it was weird, and it was like, okay, that's a great little nugget, but why would you do that, Sega? Why would you not also put that on PSN early or whatever? You see what I'm saying? So
I want you to back up and think about that. What you just said.
Yeah.
You're underestimating Phil's strategy.
No, I'm not.
Of course he cares. He's not going to give away IPs.
No, I'm not saying he's going to give away IPs. I'm saying that they're not going to give a shit about like Persona being locked under.
Yes,
Xbox.
he will. Because that is a Game Pass seller.
It is.
That is a Game Pass seller.
Okay,
so they're not going to do that.
But you just explained it. Okay, so it is a Game Pass seller. So they will get consoles sold if they have Persona on Xbox. But I just don't see a lot of those diehard PlayStation fans jumping over and getting an Xbox when they can when you know what I'm saying, they just, I think what Phil would just only want to do is just say, you know what, Persona has been on PlayStation, it's been on Nintendo, you know what, how about it comes on Game Pass first, and then you can get it, you know what I'm saying, and then it'll come out a little bit later for the other consoles.
You could say the same thing about the and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I'm just saying you could say the same thing about Bethesda. We could say the same thing all day long, but at the end of the day, he's thinking about subs. He don't care about the consoles. So if I can make my games exclusive to my ecosystem, and if it entices you to be a subscriber, even if you're a PlayStation owner, but you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, that is still a win.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. Like Phil can choose. That's why I think it's Xbox, is because Phil can choose which game stays exclusive on Xbox and PC, and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like
I agree with that, but
that's why I'm saying Persona.
He's not ignorant to not knowing that Persona is big enough to be a draw.
Oh,
and when you have a draw, you don't want to give it away.
I could see him using that to negotiate
now
with
I can
Sony and be
see
like, put Game Pass on the PlayStation at
Right,
that
like
now I can see
Sony is not
I
going to
can
let
see
that happen though. They can't.
Sonic being on the other platforms because that's
Yeah.
not a big draw,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
But Persona is, and that's why I don't believe if it was, let's say theoretically it happens, he would damn sure make sure that any future Persona project will be on PC / Game Pass day and date.
Oh yeah, day and
But
day. Yeah.
would keep it off of PlayStation for sure. Not because he don't want gamers to play it, but because he wants gamers to subscribe. And I think that is the whole. And it's the same idea with the Bethesda or ZeniMax Media, right? It's not about will you play Doom on PlayStation. Probably not going forward, but you have an option to subscribe to Game Pass and play it on whatever platform you have access to for Game Pass, and that's the idea behind it. I agree with what your mindset is or what you were trying to say, but I don't think that's plausible with the direction that he's going.
Well, I mean, I hope you're right. To see me personally, as a businessman, on that level of being just like an asshole, I would keep everything from Sony. But
it wouldn't be an asshole move. It's just
I know. Well, I'm saying in the sense like okay, like what Sony is doing with Call of Duty, that's asshole-ish to the upteenth level, and so that's what. But it's a business tactic, and you can't be mad about it. I mean, they got the marketing rights. But I hope that you're right. But I just don't see that Phil is going to be that shrewd. I think he will be shrewd, especially with those big Bethesda games. And if they get Sega, they will definitely do the same thing. But for other games out there, that's kind of like that you know what I'm saying. That's in that space of where in the unknown.
Yeah, it doesn't sell 1 million, but it sells a couple copies to make its money back, but not enough. So make a multi-platform to get all that money.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So like, you know what I'm saying? That's where I see it. So like, yeah, so do the 6 month to a year exclusive on PC and Xbox, and then just throw that, and then just get that, and just throw that, and throw them dogs a bone. That's it. That's how I look at it from that standpoint. Because I don't, and I hate when the Xbox fanboys say that shit, and I know I'm going to kind of come off as saying that, but like them, but I just don't see Persona selling 3 million on Xbox alone.
Yes, it will.
It could. I'm not saying that it wouldn't.
Especially if it's on Game Pass.
See it. I just don't. On Game Pass, it's going to eat. It's going to eat. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They already got the win because that shit's on Game Pass. And so therefore, yeah. And so what Fuzzy was saying, yeah, Xbox is trying to push Sony to say, look, all we want you to do, Sony, is just add Game Pass to PlayStation. That's all we want you to do. And Sony would be a fool to do it because Xbox will then have the whole market.
They're not going to do it because they have their competing platform.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they can't do it. They will not do it.
They'll be on Sony TVs as
well. It's not that they can't; they just won't because it competes against their own. You know what I mean? It's just, but what I'm saying to you is, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm saying when you think about what you're saying is that, first of all, Xbox is trying to get a presence in Japan. If they were serious, what would be the best way to get that entry is having Sega be their representation.
It would be fantastic. Look, PK, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I don't know.
The difference is consoles don't sell well in Japan unless they're mobile.
Right. xCloud would eat. Mobile.
Xbox.
Game Pass and xCloud would eat.
Game Pass is mobile. So think about this. The reason why a lot of Japanese don't care for American or Western games, I would say, is because they don't feel Japanese, right? They want to play things that they're not into first-person shooters like we are. They're not into, they even play different fighting games than we do.
Right.
Yeah. So, but if Sega was the stomping ground of Japan that represents Xbox brand, and they pump all the Sega IPs through Game Pass, the subscription will go out the roof.
Right.
Because in Japan, that's what they do. They're mobile. They
Well,
don't really buy
that's why
consoles.
I think that it is Xbox that's gonna make that purchase if this rumor is true. I don't. Sony. They got the capital, but they haven't made any big moves except for getting Crunchyroll, and if they're trying to do stuff with the anime and movie stuff. So which
Well,
is
that's a
smart for
different
them.
division, right?
And Billy and all that stuff. They spent a lot of money on that type of content. And while Nintendo is just staying in their own lane, they're doing fine. They don't have to worry about their report just came in that the Switch is outsold the NES. So they're fine. They're absolutely fine where they're at. Xbox, that's the whole thing for them is Japanese games. They already answered the bell for the RPGs, and now that whole spectrum of having a whole different array of games going back to that Xbox OG era and 360 era, where they was just an abundance of just so many games, genres that you couldn't get mad about that shit. So that's why I just think that Xbox is rightfully placed to get them. It's just that how will they play that out? I totally agree with you. I don't know. I mean, I want them to be nasty about it and say, look, this shit is locked here, baby. You know what I'm saying? You want an Xbox?
Well, just
a PC?
remember what I said earlier. It has to line up with their business model. Remember, Sega sells toys too. I mean, they have subsidiaries that do not line up with every other person's business. Right. Well, every other business model, and so you got to just keep that in mind. I'm with you. I would like that, but
we'll see.
Kind of hard.
All right, man. This was a great damn show, man.
He has his doubts. He wants it, but he has his doubts.
Right. No, and I don't have no problem with that. I thought it was a great discussion. Thank you guys, man. Man, where can they find you at? New Legal. Really appreciate you coming on, man. Bro, again, I know that you said at the beginning, but say it at the end. Where can they find you at? Give us all the content of where they can where they can see from Facebook to Twitter to your podcast.
Okay, first of all, man, thank you guys, man, for having me tonight. Thanks, K Mega, for reaching out to me.
No doubt.
And the streets for demanding this, man. We did this for you guys.
No doubt.
You can catch me on Facebook, the DX Men. Well, that's what we call ourselves, but it's the DX Mansion on Facebook. You can catch me and K Mega in that group. You can also catch me on Twitter, the new legal, NEW at LEGAL. You can also catch me on YouTube, Direct Gaming, DI-RREC GAMING, or just type in the new legal and it'll take you right to Direct Gaming. Instagram, Direct Gaming. And also hopefully, man, you can also catch me on Xbox, man, the new legal. So I had a lot of fun tonight, guys. Thanks for having me once again. And shout out to the Xbox community and all the real gamers out there. Everybody be safe, man. Peace.
No doubt. Fuzzy, man, thank you so much for coming on yet again. It definitely won't be the last. Yeah, no doubt, man. It definitely won't be the last time for both of you guys. I definitely, like I said, I wanted to start bringing more people in. To just give their point of view. I keep reaching out to a lot of PlayStation guys. Some come. I got to give shout out to Supernova, to Cali Rex, to King Thrash, and others, you know what I'm saying, and people like BG and them for coming on to GRG. But I've reached out to quite a few of them, man, and they'll say, hey, man, I appreciate it. I'll hit you up, and then they don't hit me back. Now, you know what I'm saying, so I'll definitely hit up some more, and so we can get their points of view on stuff, but also I want to hit up everybody else just to see how it lands. But I definitely appreciate it, man. So where can they find you at, Fuzzy? Let everybody know.
Oh, well, before that, just want to say you had an awesome panel on here tonight. Everybody, you can tell the passion as far as for the gaming and the knowledge as far as the hardware and the tech. So you guys are awesome. You can find me on Twitter, usually just posting random stuff under Fuzzy_Belvedere. Find me on YouTube, Fuzzy Space Belvedere, PSN, Fuzzy_Belvedere, Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere. Usually playing Forza. And every Saturday you can catch me on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam. with Centurion as well as with Stagrella, just talking games. But awesome having me on here, guys. I greatly appreciate it. Great conversation. Just man, and with the stuff coming out next week, can't wait. This is going to be Gamer Christmas next week. So
yeah,
fun time tonight.
No doubt, man. All right, PK, where can they find you at, man?
Hey, so you can find me here every Friday on GRG. You can find me at PKX Live on Twitter and on my channel at PK Entertainment Live, where I talk about K Mega and smack him around. And no, I'm just joking. I talk about all entertainment.
I never see you when it comes to games that I can know that I'll know that I'll smack you around, but that's okay. That's okay.
Hey man, I'm always around the corner, but you find me on my channel. Hey, look, I talk about a little bit of everything. I get into it deep sometime. I hang out with all the other buddies, and sometimes you might catch me poking my head on other people's podcasts for sure. I hung out with Cali Rex and Crispy this week, which was pretty fun.
Great episode.
Yeah, great dudes, man. Yeah, great dudes. So you done? That's it?
Yeah, that's where you can find me, unless you want me to come back and say it again.
I mean, if you want to say it again, you can.
Nah, I'm good, man.
Okay, all right, anyway. All right, my main man, Slayer, as I call him, Slick. What's going on, man? Where can they find you at? I've seen you out there with PK doing y'all's thing, man, getting on these podcasts, man. Y'all becoming rock stars, man. I'm jealous. What's going on, man?
That's my boy, man. You know, you can find me everywhere. Played every platform. You see that name, that's me. Except if it's Call of Duty Mobile, because my nephew stole my name. And one of these days, I'm going to get him for that. But that's fam, so he gets to live. But yo, you can find me here every Friday on GRG, 8 p.m. Eastern time, God's time.
Never God's time out there on the East Coast. Get out of here.
Whatever, man. The Beast Coast.
Y'all the Beast Coast. Y'all the Beast Coast. I'll give you that, man. Thank you.
Where does
Thank you
the sun rise?
Huh?
Where does the sun rise?
Exactly.
Out here in the South, baby. Let's go.
Anyway,
you had an ice storm in the fall, bro.
And it was 60. And it was 67 degrees, all blue skies this week. So I don't want to hear it.
Yo, that's the end of times type bullshit. Like that's.
Oh, hey, bro, Oklahoma and Texas weather is crazy. I know. My boy Legal gets to preach on that, bro. Oklahoma weather is ridiculous.
Yeah. Just had that ice storm, man. Come on.
I know. That's what I'm saying. We just survived. I mean, it was a week of
crazy, bro.
Ice, just rain and ice. Pure sleet. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so yo. Shout out
20
to
degrees.
The homies, Fuzzy and Legal. Hey, thanks for coming out, man. This was an episode of episodes, for myself personally, a lot of things came to a head today in the industry, regarding Sony and now Sega, Microsoft. Many things have come to a head for me to be able to speak on these truths that I really wanted to for a long time. I've been following a lot of details for many, many years, all my life, really. And to see a lot of things come together is just, ooh.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
God.
It's beautiful. All right, so Lemetheus from the Zeus, he stepped away because it probably, whatever. And then Bloody, he had to go. So apologize for that. But my little announcement is that GRG is going to get ready for this. GRG is going to get its overhaul, probably its biggest overhaul that it's ever had, coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So get ready for that. I am going to do my first, well, it's really not my first, but it's going to be my first giveaway, my first in a while giveaway to my Patreon guys, which is only like I think two people. So yes, K-Mega do, or I should say GRG has a Patreon. It does. I don't ever announce it or talk about it, but it's in there in the link in the description. I will do a giveaway there for the support that I've been getting, man. You know what I'm saying, for all that. Also, I will also do a Twitter giveaway, and then I'll also just do probably just a random giveaway as well to celebrate coming into the new generation. So get ready for that. Man, on top of that, like I said, I will show off my new TV here. I can't wait to see what Lemon's TV is because he's got me up here looking for what he possibly could be getting. And I see a couple of things, but I'm gonna wait. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna wait until what Lemon and Megatron has cooked up. And
the only clue I'm gonna give, and it's very vague, so you're kind of gonna be mad at me.
LG 6'9", man.
No. It ain't no LG. It's not LG.
Well, I'm not gonna mention anything about manufacturer. All I'm gonna say it's not a commonly known model that exists, and he's in big boy territory. Big boy territory. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. I gotta figure it out. I don't know. I can't get it. I don't know. I'm gonna find out though. But anyway, so check out 108 Dragons. I'll definitely post it in the community center. Anybody got videos that they want to send me or whatever, please hit me up. Let me know. I'll put it in the community center on my channel. So people, because it's not about me, it's about we. Again, every podcast that's out there that you love and that you love or you despise but you still listen to, it isn't shit without the crew. The people who are participate in that podcast is the ones that make the podcast ride. And it's definitely for the people who loves to listen to all the different personalities a part of that podcast. So that's something that I'll never ever forget. And that's something that I always will give praise to for everybody being part of the GRG podcast, man, and for the guests as well. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. So we out of here. Look, we're still in the pandemic, so there ain't no pants off, dance off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless you got some
perfect time for that. You staying home?
Man, I ain't touching it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you got some nice at home, it's fine. But getting some strange for some change? Hell no, I ain't touching nothing. I'm staying my ass in the house. And happy birthday to my wife. Appreciate it, baby girl, for all the support that you're giving me. We out of here. Peace.
Later. Peace.
Hey, thanks for checking out the GRG podcast. All your gaming news and our special topic of the week. Make sure to join us every Friday night, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, and 6:30 Pacific. This was the GRG podcast.